Yes, people, bless up, bless up. Hope you all are doing well this evening. I'm your host, Why It Matters, a win for short. It is now 7:33, Sunday it's Sunday the 11th of September. Hope everyone is doing well this evening or this morning, this afternoon, wherever you're listening, either on the playback or today. Hope you're doing well. Please make sure you just hit that like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But just let me know if you can hear me. If my sound's coming through okay. It is on my side, but yeah, just let me know as it is. Just want to say greetings to those in the chat already. I saw Space Cowboys, JLC Zulia, whichever name you want to go with. Jeez, so many names, bro. So many names. But I see you already responded to this live stream a few days back saying hell to the yes. So yeah, if you're here today, definitely come up and share your perspective on this topic that we're going to get into. KB, thanks, bro. Thanks for sharing. I do appreciate your support, honest to God. So, yeah, thank you for sharing it. Thank you for doing that. You didn't have to, but again, I appreciate you for doing it nonetheless. Hope you're doing well this evening. Fiona, welcome. Hope you're doing well this evening. Hope everything's okay. Hope everyone's doing all right. First off, I have to share my apologies today. It's not been my greatest day. I don't feel all that great. So, yeah, I'm not going to hold this live stream up too long, at least on my end. So we'll see what kind of conversation we'll get going. But yeah, not feeling the greatest today. So please, people, bear with me. You probably can hear from my voice, it's not that great. But, I'm still pressing on. You know how it is. Drinking all that water, making sure I can get myself hydrated. Because I don't know about you guys, but I do take supplements. But when it comes to illnesses, I like to stay clear from certain tablets. I don't know what it is. It's a weird one with me. I never really used to like tablets, but I don't mind it for supplements. Like CMOS tablets and maca root and all them other vitamin CDs. I don't mind that at times because that's more of a supplement for just normal things to make sure that your body has what maybe you can't naturally produce or you don't normally get. But when it comes to illnesses, I'm a bit of a stickler for having pills when it comes to recovering from illnesses. I like to try more, herbal teas, all that kind of other stuff. So yeah, I'm not saying I'm against it, but yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just one of them things, isn't it? But yeah, I'm gonna have to get out that a little bit because sometimes they do be working. I ain't gonna lie to you. But yeah, so please bear with me, people. All that kind of good stuff. And before we get into it, I just wanted to talk about this because obviously, as you know, the Queen has passed away. So RIP to family, thoughts and prayers. I'm one of the people who, let's be honest, has been quite indifferent towards the Queen. I don't mind it. I think as I've gotten older, I've kind of liked the monarchy more and what it represents, and explain to you why. Because I know a lot of black people, ethnic minorities, don't share the same views. They're quite more staunch about it. But there's something about tradition which hits differently when you get older in history. When I was younger, I used to really not like history. I used to take options, and it used to be, for me, geography or history. They were the two options. And I was like, I didn't want to take history. I hated always doing essays. I hated doing all that kind of other stuff. I was like, you know what? Bun the history. I did geography. So my options, I did geography and I did French. But it's not until I got older where I'm like, you know what? I really, really do like history because again, it's a case of especially this country. This country is so rich with history. When you look at the monarchies, we just go through the list of monarchies. And you're just like, bro, do you understand exactly the history that what you're born into? And when you walk down the street, depending on where you're from and what you see. And let's make no bones about it. Do you know when most people come to the UK, where's one of the places that they first go to? Buckingham Palace. Why? Because they understand, even though people who, oh, I'm against the monarchy, symbol of white supremacy, I guarantee it. If you check their bucket list of where they want to go to, I can guarantee it, it's likely to be Buckingham Palace. They want to see more Sandringham House. They want to see all the old historical buildings. They want to see that because you know what? As much as we hate to admit this, it's a glimpse into history and tradition that, you know what, nowadays we see less and less about. So even the ceremony now, the Ascension, it's like, so King Charles, you see how it's all done. You don't really get to see this in your lifetime, people. Let's be honest. Look how long Queen Elizabeth II reigned. 96 years. It's like, bro, obviously that's actually, I think she came in on 25. So 25, so it was what? It was 71. So 71 years she reigned. That's again, how many lifetimes of people has died and we've not seen this process before. So I don't know. I didn't get to see it because I was out earlier today helping some family folks out. But yeah, I'm definitely going to have a look at the playback to see exactly, the process, the cannons. I know up in my area, it was like a lot of things took place. So it's like, you know what, people? I mean, look, this is tradition at its highest order. This is when people talk about the royal family, because it's not like the UK are the only ones who have a royal family. You got Norway, you got all the Scandinavian nations. But when it comes, Monaco have their own monarchy. But let's be honest, when it comes to the monarchy, it is the UK that we're talking about. This is the monarchy. So for good, for bad, indifferent, I don't know, man. You're part of history. And yeah, so sometimes I think people just need to sometimes enjoy it for what it is. At the end of the day, I guarantee if it comes to the African nations and the Caribbean nations, more African, let's be honest. Um, when it comes to your historical events and how you want to keep some of the history and some of the traditions, whether they have good roots, bad roots, or indifferent. The Woman King, for example, if people look at the history about that, there's a lot of unsavory situations. But you know what? Well, that's all said and done. It's just sometimes good to get a glimpse into history and a glimpse into exactly this is how it was done as much as they can do. It's just interesting. It's just interesting. But that's just me. That's just me. But at the end of the day, it's a case of the bank holiday. So for all you people who are against the royalists and staunch advocates against it and staunch this, well, you know what? Then I tell you what, if you're really that staunch, don't take this bank holiday. Then you work on your bank holiday. You agree with your workplace. I'm going to work on this bank holiday. But I guarantee a lot of you won't. So it is what it is. I've actually got a poll out on that in regards to should people who are staunchly against mourning and staunchly against the monarchy take a bank holiday? I'm like, I know the answer to that question, but it's funny. It's funny. So yeah, it's interesting. And again, it's once in a life. I say once in a lifetime. I don't think King Charles is going to last that long. If I'm being honest with you, he's what 78, 77. So yeah, we get to see probably another one in our lifetimes, I think, and that will probably be about it, depending on if the Lord spares you to see probably past 100. If I'll be honest. But anyway, to the live stream people. Again, please make sure you like the stream, share the stream, subscribe if you are new. Now, the stream is about arranged marriages. So, as we know in our little community, as we call it, marriages aren't something that's high on the priority list. And when we do get married, it's a case of they don't really last the course, especially the younger generation. Lots of factors people will put into play, so many different multivariate facets and situations like that. So the question that comes about of this is, are we looking at marriages in a completely wrong aspect? And of course, when we compare ourselves to other groups, we have to compare ourselves to other ethnic minorities, because that's really I say, the most sensible approach to look at things. Because in a group that's dominated by another group, they have the luxury to be everything and all things, because they have the numbers, they have the power, they have the resources, etc., etc., etc. Whereas for minority groups, and this is why I was mentioning about how we should operate when it comes to even mentioning about the Queen, should have a little bit of a different operation if we're in a foreign land. Let's just be honest. I don't think every strategy doesn't work depending on what environment you're in. There are certain environments where other strategies work. There's certain environments where certain strategies don't work. So this is the question today then. Is modern day marriage, would we benefit from having arranged marriages? Now, I'm just going to start with this premise, or start off with just setting the background to this, because I think a lot of people, and even myself, when we hear the word arranged marriages, we get confused. So there's really two main ones now. You have forced marriages. Now, forced marriages is different than arranged marriages. So I just want to make sure I make that abundantly clear for those who are watching. Forced marriage is, I think, what people traditionally look at when it comes to arranged marriages. So this is where, if you're talking about forced marriage, you have a situation where both parties, the bride side and the groom side, they really don't have any say. It's all on the parents who come together. They agree on what should take place. And really, the bride and the groom, for a lot of time, for most of the part of it, they only know about it pretty much on the day of. So all the ceremonies arranged, everything's all done. And depending how really old school you are, you won't even see each other until the wedding night. Or sorry, the wedding day. And obviously you do your nuptials, and then it is what it is, till death do you part. So that's forced marriages. Forced marriages is where you have a situation where, again, it's not even down to the bride or groom. It's down to the parents to agree, and let's be honest, a lot of times that would be down to financial reasons. A lot of times that would be down to other situations, and they would agree on behalf of each other. That's forced marriages. Now, arranged marriages have a different context. This is where, and I'm going to get this article up, because like most things, let's be honest, they evolve. Cultures evolve based on, in my opinion, the IQ and the EQ of a group. So not having enough of one or lack of other results in a lot of cultural traits, which for me, yeah, we can have a little bit of a discussion about whether it's right or wrong. But culture change, we all know this, and a lot of culture changing around the world. Is it for the good, for the best? I don't know. But let's just read this article, because this is the arranged marriages in which I wanted to talk about today. And again, Indians are one of the key, I think they're still key staple foods of arranged marriages. Pakistanis, I'm going to explain a little bit different because there's certain practices I do not agree with Pakistanis and Bengalis. So let's get into this article. So young British Indians are embracing arranged marriage, just not in the traditional sense. So again, even when it comes to arranged marriages, they have a different way of doing it. Now, arranged marriages occupy an awkward place in contemporary Britain. For some, they're equivalent to forced marriage. Others see them as quaint custom in need of adjustment to the modern ideal of Western style of marriages. However, my decade-long research with British Indians paints a rather different picture of this practice. Now, this was published in 2021, so it's very recent. Far from being a homogenous tradition, modern arranged marriages involved a variety of matchmaking practices where each family tailors its own version to suit modern identities and ambitions. So we talk about how other cultures seem to have this, traditional sense, but let's be honest, they're not immune to change. And this is where it gets into the crux. No matter how we talk about, all these people keep their culture, their historic culture. Let's be honest, most cultures now have changed because technology's changed. You can't have the old style culture with the new style technology. It just doesn't work. So that's why I say that's based on the level of IQ of a group. If a group realizes we should have cars, therefore we're gonna have a lot different dating mating scene if you can have travel over the different states, over different cities than it was beforehand, where you would marry within your little remit. Planes, all this social media, it changes the whole game on everything, which then changes the culture. Now, among the first generation, transnational arranged marriages were the norm. People would go back to India to find partners with the added expectation that their children would follow a very traditional style of arranged marriage. But there was a marked shift in the attitude of British born second generation. For this group, attitudes towards arranged marriages began to noticeably shift in the 60s and 70s. They felt that unlike their parents, traditional transnational marriages would not work for them and their children who identified more with Britain than with India. See, they noticed a change like we've noticed a change in how our people tend to identify. The range of arranged marriages that now exist can be thought of as a spectrum, with forced marriages now that involve marrying someone against their will at one extreme, and the most westernized style of courtship and marriage, including interreligious marriages or instances where parents may only be involved in arranging the wedding at the other. So as you can see here, I'm just going to sort of read it down here where, again, the two versions. Let's go here. So the first one is called a semi-arranged marriage, where parents who wish to help their child find a potential partner will introduce them to several candidates from within the British Indian population. So now, again, this is key now. This is key. The first point of call, regardless of whether how new or modern it is to keep it within the group. So again, the first time what they would look to do is introduce them to several candidates within the British Indian population that they think could make a suitable match. Introductions can involve sifting through specifically commissioned bride or groom CVs, studio photographs, events similar to speed dating, So pretty much like a matchmaking, a new modern version where the parents will then do pretty much a matchmaking and then show them the potential candidates, which pretty much seems like almost like when your friends and family, they may just have a little setup, if you like. After introductions are made, the relationship follows an established pattern of the couple going on dates, sometimes chaperoned to get to know each other better. They are also gently encouraged to fall in love in the run up to the wedding. Now, it doesn't really mention about whether they have to get married. I assume they have veto power if they do go on dates and they don't find each other to be, the best fit when it comes to chemistry. I'm trying to think. I don't think this actually does say there. In this particular one here. Families don't frown upon these types of courtships because matches are approved by the parents of the couple themselves. All those that interviewed who went through this version of arranged marriage confessed to being in love with their chosen partner by the wedding. So that's very interesting. It seems like they seem to have a good handle on what their children seem to like, or they seem to have a good handle on being able to set those children up to be able to have a situation where they actually do fall in love. The other style is what my research participants called love arranged marriages, where the person who wants to get married finds someone they like themselves. So this is pretty much like the new modern day version of it. You just find someone you like. In these marriages, couples go on dates and get to know each other before asking their families to approach the parents of their love interest in order to arrange a formal introduction. So that's basically the gist of it when it comes to these modern day arranged marriages. So here's my view on it, and here's my take, because I'm going to open up the stream because, again, today is not my best feeling day, so I'm not going to be chatting at you too long. So the first question is, would we benefit from having arranged marriages? Obvious answer for me is yes. I don't see how that's not a yes kind of question. However, and this is where this is the criteria for me, and this is where it comes into the nuts and bolts. Because when you look at places like India and you look at how they do things, especially when it comes to old school, why arranged marriages were there for. Marriages are really, and this even extends to traditional culture over here. When you look at kings and queens, it was all a business proposal. So historically, it was all about saving or making sure that their kingdoms were going to be in the hands of people who were, again, for the kingdoms. It was either for, if it was conquest, they would marry each other for peace, or it was to expand the empire. But basically, it was some sort of quid pro quo depending on the status of that individual. So this is where, again, a lot of Indians, they have the caste system, as you know. And a lot of them, again, you look at someone like Rishi Sunak, you look at who he married, regardless of what you say about being arranged marriages and whatnot. He didn't marry somebody who was from a lower state of family. Let's just be honest. He married a billionaire's daughter. So this is where, when it comes to arranged marriages, forced marriages, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to say this. I think it will most benefit, or it should most benefit, those who are of a certain ilk in society. And this may come into, um, I know GLC Zulu, he makes a point about eugenics. I won't call eugenics, but I'll definitely call it a bit of a selection criteria where, let's be honest, if you as a family's made it to a certain realm in life and you have your children, you kind of don't want them to be marrying somebody who, it's not necessarily about their wealth status or anything, but even the mindset. That's another thing as well. So for me, it's a case of this. I do think there's a place for this in society. I don't think it fits everyone. I think there are certain people who, I'll be honest with you, I don't think they should have arranged marriages. I think they should just let them do what they need to do. I don't think they'd be ready for it, especially in this society, because if Indians aren't immune to the modern day society, if Indians aren't immune to how they know how the marriage process works, then we know we're already too far gone for that kind of stuff. So when it comes to arranged marriages, does it work? Yes, it does. But let's just be real. Let's be honest. I think that should work for a select few. I think it should really work for those who meet a certain criteria. I think this is going to sound horrible, but I think really we should try and preserve the ones who actually A, want to get married, but B, actually have something about them that actually wants to stay within the union and do better for themselves. Again, it's not necessarily about a wealth criteria, but I do think those who are really wealthy, they should look a lot hard about who they actually let their kids marry, because at the end of the day, that money, that wealth can go real quick in the hands of the wrong family. You do not want that to be the case. I mean, we all know that marriage is a business, an institute. And when we talk about these things, we can't be naive to the fact of, look, if someone dies, the estate is going to be a lot of turmoil. There's going to be a lot of situations where people are going to be like, I want a piece of this, I want a piece of that. And a lot of these people will be vultures, let's be honest. So we all talk about love is blind and all that kind of other stuff, but truth be told, it really even isn't. Love sees your bank balance, love sees your height, love sees your religion, love sees your nationality, love sees your culture, love sees everything. So when it comes to arranged marriages, I mean, again, for me, that's no different. We talk about whether you like each other, whether you don't, but again, that's for me. So do I see it as being beneficial? Yeah, yeah, I definitely do see it as beneficial. I think, given the numbers, given the fact that a lot of our people, especially the millennial ages, I think this is, again, is that big culture shift in regards to prioritizing marriage. I think this will better realign people into A, what marriage is all about, because this is the next thing as well when it comes to these things. I think with this situation of it taking out the whole, not the whole romance part, but the whole setup of it, it has probably a different feeling among groups to say, you know what, I'm going into this with a different mindset as opposed to thinking with the lower regions of your body. Because let's be honest now, when you're looking at a potential partner, I'm talking from a man's perspective, what you're looking at first is what governs your lower half. And then anything after that is after the fact. And for some people, for some of us, it's already too late. 1, 2, 3 kids in, and then the whole thing messes up. And then at that point, when it comes to marriages, it's like, well, we've got disjointed families. We've got, what do they call it? Extended, not nuclear. We've got situations where, depending on whether it's the first wife or the second wife, you may not love the first wife's children as much as the second wife because you managed to get on. I mean, that's what happens when it comes to even wealthy families, if I'll be honest, where I guarantee they have kids or families in which they like more, because guess what? When they got on, they was able to get a woman that they really wanted, as opposed to the first star kit wife who they didn't really want, but it was only in their proximity or only in their remit to go get. So there's all these kind of other things that takes place. But truth be told, when it comes to arranged marriages and the context and the setup of it, especially the hybrid version nowadays that I've read, in which a lot of times it's more of a setup, I don't think that's a bad plan at all. The only thing I would say is this: would you trust your parents to set you up with somebody who you would actually like? You can give them all the criteria you want. The question is, would you actually trust your family to be able to set it up? I mean, reading the article, a lot of them, when they were set up after telling their parents kind of what they want, and they was able to do that whole matchmaking situation, a lot of them said that they found love before the marriage. Cool, cool. But yeah, a lot of time that does require a bit of trust from your family and friends. I know there's certain family, certain friends I won't trust with a barge pole. That's too what kind of person you're going to select for me and what you're gonna what you're gonna give to me and etc like that. So yeah, a lot of times it does depend on the family. And again, for me, I'm just going to be honest with you. If you have certain family members who, well, let's just say they're about them, they're about themselves, they're going in the right direction. The last thing I want is that person to be met with a knucklehead, man or woman, because I know what would happen. That knucklehead will end up destroying a union. And here's the thing as well about arranged marriages, because people always often say this, and it's true, but there's a reason for this. Arranged marriages result in less divorce rates. Very true. Statistically, it is. I think when I looked at the stats, 4% of arranged marriages end in failure. So we already know that's a low, low, low rates. However, this is where the environment comes into place. The environment is the reason why, because there is a massive, massive shame culture when it comes to divorce. Now, in India, particularly, let's be honest, it's not as if women are really, really free. They're still fighting for their freedoms. I mean, people call it feminism. Okay, fine, but there's a level of freedoms that me personally, I would want all individuals to experience. And when you have situations where you have girls as young as 7, girls as young as 11 being forced to marry a grown man who's like 40 plus, there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. Now, a lot of men always talk about this age gap relationships, fine. But I just think, don't you think that kind of stuff is wrong? Because at the end of the day, in those kind of cultures, and this may be religious as well, as soon as you menstruate, as soon as a woman can menstruate and she can have kids, especially back in the olden days, that was, you can marry, you can have kids. But obviously now we know better. Now we are wise to the fact. Now we have more technology, more science. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't care when if my daughter she turns 12, 13 and menstruate, there's no way near I'm gonna have a just because this guy may be somebody, some 40 plus year old man. Like, no thanks. No thanks. So there are some other factors that go into the fact of we have low divorce rates purely because again, when one group has over exuberant amount of power over another group, that helps their cause. It really does. It really does help their cause. And that's not to go into some of the other issues that you find in these arranged marriages, you know, sexless marriages, marriage of convenience. And this is where sometimes when it comes to, as mentioned, the Indians, but then we look at the Pakistanis and Bengalis, and this is where again they do a similar situation, but more on a cousin marriage. So 50% of like Pakistanis and Bengalis, they marry their first cousins. Like 55%. I mean, there's a reason why, again, when it comes to their children, they have a lot of issues with their children purely because the blood work is too close. The DNA, it doesn't hold up. So there's a lot of situations that take place where I think 33% of all children that go through these ailments because of that, they're of a certain ethnicity. So not only do we have to deal with certain practice, but we have certain cultural practice, which I'm not for. So, you know, I'm not for it at all. Again, I'm more of a case of, listen, I would rather go for the approach of matchmaking. This is really a case of this is the type of woman that I'm looking for that will look good on me and look good on the family to bring back home. And then we'll go from here. Because at the end of the day, and this is what I want as well. I don't know about all you guys. I really don't. You want someone to want you. Now, I know that some of these are fleeting emotions. And I know there has to be a situation where a sense of duty kicks in. And this is where marriages, I think, fail a lot more nowadays because there's more of an opportunity for you to divorce. You know, when things go horribly wrong, or not even horribly wrong. Let me scratch that. When things don't necessarily go as perfect, when things aren't always sky high, there's an easy way to get out of divorces, especially now with this no fault divorce stuff. It's like, well, are you, can you, should it be right that you can just go, whoop, I don't love you, or whoop, and then just break up a marriage? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, someone will say if you've been married for 40 plus years, that's still a success. I suppose that is true. That is true. But just the fact that you can actually have the option to do that, this is where it presents the problem. This is when the environment comes into play. So in other environments where freedoms aren't so readily available, it works a treat. But let's be real. Let's be real to the fact. Let's be real to the truth. This isn't that environment that we're living in. Again, you look at the Indians, they understand that concept very well. They understand exactly what goes on. They're not no strangers to it. There are other groups who are more of a certain religion. They have situations where I've seen horrific situations where the man can just divorce the wife by saying 3 things. And it's just like, what? And again, they go through a Shahira court, not even the regular courts, which isn't recognized in the UK. And the wives are left with just absolutely nothing. So I understand the play. I understand what goes on in certain environments and certain situations, even over here in the UK, in which somehow they're able to get this environment set in place. But, you know, we are no way near on that level. So, yeah. But do I think arranged marriage will benefit a lot of us? Heck yeah. I think personally, I think a lot of arranged marriages should really be for. I'll be honest with you, more elite categories. I think the more elite you are, the more you should be looking into making sure that when you do get married, you are looking for the right partner based on a numerous of factors. The last thing you want to do, I'm speaking from a man now, is be with a woman again just for looks, and that woman is going to be the death of you, bro. And then when you're going to get divorced, or when you do get divorced, you can lose half your stuff, half your shit, or even more so. And then you got the mental, emotional stress. Likewise, for women, I'm sure you can tell me this. The last thing you want is to deal with a guy who's cheating, all this kind of other stuff, going to give you STDs, all the kind of other stuff. So I do think for people who are about themselves and people who are on that little bit of a higher level of thinking, not necessarily financial wise, but that does come into effect. Yeah, bro, you should be thinking about this more than anything, even from an intelligence perspective. Because you want people, intelligence is genetic. Intelligence is genetic. It's hereditary, people. So when people are high IQs and they get together, they like to have kids with high IQs. Again, this is where India they do their caste system. They're not stupid, even though their IQ is an average of like 81, 79. Believe me or not, their top group are unbelievably smart because they want to keep smart people and rich people with each other. So, Zulia, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, man, surviving today. Surviving today.
Get that Lemsip Max, man. I think Thomas Dimmerhin used that a couple of live streams ago on another channel and said it got him right, but quick.
Do you know what I'm thinking about? I thinking I should. You know, I'm with my water and with my naturals kind of stuff. So I'm definitely gonna if it's like that tomorrow, then for sure I'm gonna get that Lemsip Max. But let me start off asking each question. I would know the answer to it, but will we
How
benefit
do
from?
you know my answer? How do you know my answer, sir? How do you know? How do you know?
You said hell to the yes when I put this live
Oh
stream up.
yeah, yeah.
But
I mean, yeah. I agree. I mean, in a chaotic society, a Babylonian society, as much of the modern day West is, you need to bring order from chaos. And I feel doing an arranged marriage is a way to try and protect your most valuable investment, which is your offspring, your genetic lineage. And you don't just hand over the keys to your car to anyone. You don't just give your house to someone that you don't know. Your children are your property, regardless of what the state says. And if you want your child to pair up with someone who you believe to be of high enough caliber and to vet them, you know, so be it. You have their best interests at heart. You want your lineage to succeed and to thrive. And I think arranged marriages would be the most effective and conducive and successful way to do that.
now let me ask you this, because there is a sort of a counter argument which I've not talked about, which, funny enough, you brought up real nicely about your offspring, your property, the most prized property, which is true, and you want to make sure that again, you have the best interest for your children. But I've always said this, and I don't know whether you agree or not. You know, when parents say, "I have the best interest for you," I always think it's no, no, no. You have the best interest for you for me. So whatever you think I should do is not what I necessarily want to do. So in the case of arranged marriages, a lot of people eloped with who they wanted to marry. They love, I love this man, I love this woman, and they ain't good enough for each other. So how would you sort of get involved in your child's, or are you going to be a very, very, staunch present in your children's sort of marriage and love life? Would you be a case of, if you bring this guy home, I'm disowning you, you have to elope?
Yeah, that's what you could do. You could say, I'll write you out the will. That's another way to get them up to fall in line. You'd be written out of the will. What other things you could say is, I'll disown you. Those you don't have to go out here honor killing, but you could do things which are legally
Wow, I was going
punishable
to
to
say
let
that.
them know
Yeah.
that you play that game, you're out of here. That's how it is. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And these are your children, this is your heritage, you invested tons and tons of time in them. And I ask you, is the current method that's being employed here by people that look like us in the UK, is that breeding strategy where the children are being raised like plants? You see them for 10 hours, 10 minutes a day, and you water them and feed them, and then you leave them for the school to raise them. Is that working? Is that system working? I don't think it's working, man.
No, given the unfortunate events I've been seeing over the last few months across the UK, bro, with our people, it's yeah, there's definitely cause for a rethink for sure. So yeah, I definitely on you with that one. Let me switch over to KB and I'll come back to you. No worries when we open it back up. KB, bro, how's it going this evening? You all right? You well?
Good, good evening, sir. How are you? How are you?
Yeah, man. All good. So the question is again,
Blessed to the, yeah.
do you think will we benefit from having arranged marriages?
Do you know what? I think it would be a good idea to go in that direction. And I like what you guys were just talking about because I, I got to be honest. Because those that know me know that I have a son, and he's coming of age now. And to be honest, I'm kind of inflicting that parenting slowly but surely and subtly in terms of relationship influence. In terms of, if I can help it, he's going to go for a certain type of woman. Now, the thing with the race thing, if I'm going to be honest, it there was once a point in my life I would have said, "Oh, it's got to be a black girl," and you know what, I wouldn't, I would prefer, but I've got, as he's got older and as I've got older, I've kind of changed my view on that. What I have said to him is, with certain races, I've tried to not say don't go for them, but if you are gonna, if you do happen to get with somebody of a certain race, um, be aware of these things. Again, now people that know me probably know which race I'm talking about. But yeah, I try to get him to avoid that. But I think that sort of influence would be good, because I think even for the black community's sake, in terms of like, so basically, my family, there's a few people that are Afro-Carib, which is, one parent's African, usually West African, in some cases North, and then another parent's from the Caribbean somewhere. And I found it's almost like that child, even though that child's black, it's almost like they're biracial as well. And what I mean by that is, you do almost get to get two different cultures, points of view, minds, especially if the family is, tight, and also willing to play active role in that child's upbringing. Yeah. And I think, in terms of like marriages and stuff, I think it would serve and go, similar, the same, hopefully. I think we should be trying to seek out the best of us. And if we can get our kids together, so be it. Do you know what's interesting though, right? I feel like our community, we do selective breeding. I won't say arranged marriages so much, because it's still not a main base thing that we do, but selective breeding without even realizing it. And what I mean is, if we
Is
do,
that in a bad way though?
say again, sorry.
Is that in a bad way though?
No, yeah. Well, what I was going to say, it could be taken so, yeah, because we do it in terms of things like outward appearance, looks, etc. If
Right.
we make any specific selection criteria for breeding with somebody, it's usually because the child's going to come out looking a certain way.
Yeah.
It's never usually, oh, this he or she is really smart, or they come from a lineage of well-schooling people, my child's probably going to be smart. I don't think we even do it, and I don't think this is great either, but I don't think we even do it on like physical, in terms of athletic terms. I don't think we even breed like that either. I think if we do it consciously, what it seems to be, aesthetically, which is not good. I don't think so anyway. I mean, look, yes, you should be attracted to your partner, and I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting your child to be attractive, if that makes sense. And us as black people know exactly, so I don't really try to bash too much on that, because us as black people know, when it comes to us specifically, that the way society treats us, we're going to be treated like black people anyway, n words, but it can vary depending on your outward appearance. Let's be honest, it's not right, but it's just the truth. So sometimes when I hear black people wanting their child to come out a certain way, I'm not going to say I agree, but I kind of understand. But if we're going to do that, let's go the whole hog then. Let's get
Okay.
the brightest kids together. Let's do you know what I mean? Let's get, even in terms of the kids that are into certain crafts or certain natural abilities, get them together, enhance it. You know, and again with the marriages, if it's difficult, because we've got this problem with broken families. It's difficult because if you think about it, let's say there's a family, there's a mum and dad that stay together, they've got a daughter, to a black or mixed daughter or whatever, yeah, and ideally to get with a black guy, and then the guy she ends up getting with, albeit his intentions are good and everything else, but he's from a single parent household, for example,
Right.
his outlook on life and in general family interactions is going to be different from hers. She's the way her interaction with men, her first interaction with men, her first male love really is going to be her dad. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not gonna say he won't have the ability to love her like her dad does, but he hasn't got an example in most cases. So it's difficult with our community because we have I won't say we haven't got a basis to go on, but our basis is a bit fractured. So
I hear you.
but for now, I think if we can try and get the best of the best together in some sort of way,
Yeah.
then do so. If we can pick kids to be good looking, we can pick kids to be smart too. Do you know? I don't know. That's my opening thoughts.
No,
Anyway.
I hear what you said. I'm gonna ask a question to the main panel about what you've said, what some of the things you've said or said here, which I want to just ask a couple of things. But yeah, let me go to Thomas. Thomas, evening, bro. How you doing?
Good evening, bro. What's up?
Yeah, all good, man. All good. So question to you as opposed to the rest of the panel. Do you agree with or do you think we'll benefit from having arranged marriages?
I want to say I'm going to just be honest.
Yeah, please.
I don't think arranged marriages are, but I don't think they apply to Black and British Black people. Let me explain. Actually, let me ask this question: Are the majority of British Black people conservative? Are they traditional?
I mean, yeah, for me, it'll be a no. But
Then that's the answer.
I don't know whether it's necessarily conservative though, Thomas. I don't think this is a conservative thing. I think traditional's right, but I don't know about conservative.
Yeah, traditional and conservative, they go hand in hand. So this only applies.
But all right.
No, I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about mindset, not politics. Conservative and traditional are the same thing. I'm not talking about politics. But the majority of British Black people, they're not conservative. So arranged marriages only apply for conservative families, conservative-minded individuals, and I don't think it will work. Because
so let me ask you this, then, Thomas. Then, so what about the ones who are conservative? Because there are a hell of a lot of conservative Black people, more than we're given credit for. What about them? Do you think they should? Because my argument is it only works for certain people. So, do you think there are certain people who should go through this route?
No, let me ask another question. Are they in a position of power? Are they wealthy?
Because I'm assuming some are. I think you'll have. I mean, obviously, probably not like you're certain wealthy, but at least upperly mobile to be able to, make certain decisions. Surely.
Then, if they're conservative and they're wealthy, then yeah, they can do arranged marriages. Because, in my opinion, arranged marriages are good because you're allowing the parents to vet the children's spouses. Ensuring that they fit certain qualities, like are they conservative? Do they come from a nuclear family household? What are they ambitious? Are they ambitious? Are they God fearing? Those are the qualities I tend to find where if I'm going to perform arranged marriages between my children. But if not, then I don't think it's applicable for Black people because, like you said, bro, the majority of Black people in the UK, they're not conservative, so it's not going to apply.
But I suppose let me just not counter, but just offer this, because the article I read, it was a sort of, because they understand that the culture's changing, then their children are going to be exposed to it. What they said for arranged marriage is slightly different than how people used to perceive it. What would happen is, you would have like it's almost like a matchmaking service. I'll use that as an example. That's kind of what the arranged marriages is now. So you would have, ask your children, okay, what kind of woman or man do you want? And they'll try and obviously fill in the rest. And then they'll try and matchmake. And then they would agree with each other, oh, do we want to go forward with it? Does that work better if you hear it that way as opposed to the arranged marriages way? I don't know. What do you think?
Matchmaking. So we're basically Tinder. For arranged marriages.
A nicer, classier way where the parents of the family will get together. It's more organized. It's not just a swipe.
No, I don't like I don't like this matchmaking services because they're deceitful. No, I prefer if, you know, two families, they've known each other for a long time, they have history, then they have children, then they come up with a strategic plan organically for the children to get to know each other. You know, I see the parents carefully observing the children, trying to identify their strengths and their weaknesses and whether they fit their certain criteria. That's how I envision arranged marriages. If they fit these certain criteria, then they can go forward to say, you know, your son should marry my daughter, and vice versa.
Can I jump in here a little bit, Thomas? Not to cut you off, you're just making me think, if that's all right. Because just seeing what someone said in the chat as well, it makes me want to. I agree as well. But the problem is, because you see, even with the whole arranged marriage thing, because I think it's a good idea too. And this is why I get doubtful, because in amongst even that, as you said, the sort of matchmaking process, there's going to be certain bits that are going to be like, for example, black people, we can't even honestly criticize each other. Do you know what I mean? And to sort of put children together, you're going to have to do some, you know, critical analysis, you know, between, you know, yes to this child, what's a pro for this child, what's a con for this child. We can't even do that. This is part of the problem. Although I agree with you, it's a brilliant idea, but it's like yeah, bruv. It's the moment someone puts an impression, oh, your child's not good enough for my child, there's going to be fights and shit, man. It's just ridiculous.
That's a very true. That's a very true point. And I was going to ask this to the panel as well. Sorry to cut you, KB, but this is the question. For example, would you have trusted your family, all of you guys on the panel, to pick a suitable partner? Would you have trusted your partner, or do you think you would have that pushback? Yo, this guy's not good enough for my daughter, or vice versa. That my daughter's not good enough for my son. Do you think that could work for your situation?
It honestly depends, because if you bring me, if like my son, if I see a girl who's my son's age, or let's say a couple, 2 years younger than my son, and I check, you know what? I check for the qualities. The same qualities in that girl that I see in my wife. Is she conservative? Is she a Proverbs 31 woman? I mean, is she a virtuous woman, a woman of God? And does she come from a functioning family? Especially,
what if she's butters though? What if she's real butters?
Bob, of course, looks matters. So I'm gonna judge her from top to bottom. And if she's beautiful and she's a conservative woman and she respects men, particularly her father, then she has a chance. Same with my daughter. Like for a guy, I'm not gonna allow my daughter to be like, for example, bring in some roadman or Tyrone. I'm like, no, I tell them to get out of my house. Come back to my house again, I'll kill you. So
even if she loves that guy, she thinks he's the world.
No, okay. I'll kill him.
Oh my gosh, man, honor killing.
Bury him somewhere.
Well, I think for me, I would trust my parents. I think there's a combination of, one of them was very, very conservative. The other was conservative, but a bit more less African with it. So for me, I would trust, and I would trust them to seek what's best for me in an arranged marriage situation. It's not like they're forcing me to marry someone. They just give you a list of people that would potentially meet the threshold. You go on a couple of dates with them and you see how things go. You know, the current system now is chaotic. There's no glue. This is why Indians and Jews, you know, they do this royal families, they do this arranged marriage thing because it ensures that your lineage, your culture stays together, and the glue is what unites the different families to put forward suitable candidates for marriage. But because we have nothing to unify or to preserve or to hold as a glue, you get what you get, which is a chaotic, unmarried, divorced, or single parent ridden community.
No, I hear that. And I know I just put this question up on the screen, and you guys have pretty much touched it anyway. But it's going to lead to this next question. What are the top priorities that you would look for, I suppose, for yourself and then for, again, your children? Would it be character first, appearance last? Because let's be honest, and this is just the truth, you're likely going to have to sacrifice one or the other depending on how things is. Now, I know for a lot of guys, a lot of it is about looks primarily. I'm not saying that's always the case. And I know we have our, I can trade off this and that. But I suppose the question is, what is the criteria that you would give me top 3 or something?
IQ, intelligence.
Yes. IQ. Does like, for example, I'll ask him, okay, what's your occupation? He tells me he does liberal arts. I tell him to fuck off. Get out of here. Don't come back. He has to come from.
Vincent Van Gogh, then you're gonna like, nah, man, we pay the bills over here.
I tell him to fuck off. Like, he needs to come from a STEM background, politics, business, law, accounting. That's what I want. And I don't care what anyone says. That's what Asians are doing. That's how black people should be operating. We want the best for our children. So we want someone who's intellectual like ourselves. All right. So IQ, then character. Okay, I'll ask him. What's your life outlook? How do you perceive life? Just ask him general philosophical questions. Like, I want to break him down, find out his strengths and weaknesses. Then, of course, looks matters. I don't want some biased guy to marry my daughter because my grandkids will look clapped as well. So, yeah, those are the 3 things: IQ, character, looks.
No, I hear you, bro. I hear you. KB, bro. What's your answer to this question?
Oh, bro, I'm crying over here. This guy, fam.
Yeah, come on, man. He's brutal, man. He's brutal with everything, bro.
Oh shit. Oh, bro. Right. I would say IQ as well, but I want to premise it by saying, look, she doesn't. Like, for example, my partner is intelligent, so I want intelligence, but the willingness and ability to learn. I like that in a female. That even if it's about anything and everything, do you know what I mean? I do like that. Number 2, and I found this to be. I didn't find it important when I was younger, but her relationship with men, mainly her father, the men in her life, her direct influence, and just men in general. The relationship with them, how she acts with them. What they would say about her if she wasn't there. And then I would say the 3rd one is looks as well. But that's not a top priority one. Do you know? It depends. When you're younger, you're gonna go for that sort of thing. Everyone, when they're younger, they kind of go for looks first. And it definitely does play a part. Obviously, you want to be attracted to the person. Obviously, you want your children to take after as well. But yeah, it's not the be all and end all. It is in there. So Fiona, I hear that. Because to be perfectly honest, yeah, like, females are the same. Like, if we're honest, and you know what, this is one thing I've always laughed about Caribbean talk, when they're very honest. Look, bring a ugly guy home and somebody in your family will let you know about it. Like, Caribbeans, am I lying? Like, you know what I mean? So
it's the same with Nigerians. Nigerians are brutal. They'll tell them, like, what's this guy? What's this monster in my house? What the hell, get off me?
So it does count, innit? But all those other things should be, and it's like, yeah, the nurturing side of her, and just generally, like, also as well. I know you said 3, bro, but also sort of staying power. How much she actually has your back, and I'm not talking on a regular basis, but if shit hits the fan, is she gonna be like? Because essentially, a woman should be you're the pilot. She should be your autopilot. Yeah. If you pass up behind the cockpit, can she take over? Do you know what I mean? Has she got that in her? She may never need to do it, and if you're doing your stuff as a man, those occasions will be minimal in your lifetime anyway. So, but if it does, can she can she take over? So that's something that's important for me as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and
That's
these are sort
actually
of
true,
things I
bro.
want them to get. Say
That's
again, bro.
actually
Sorry.
that's actually true because
Mm.
when you validate your son's potential partner, you're gonna ask you're gonna observe her like, does she catch him when he falls? Because I don't want my son to marry a chameleon. Because some of the, what, brothers, I forgot to tell you this. There's this thing called the soft girl movement. So these Keishas are
Isn't
now
that what you
trying
want, though,
to.
bro? Isn't that what you want? I know you're thinking that's just a
No,
fake
no,
thing, but isn't that what you
it's
want?
fake. It's fake because it's fake because these Keishas, they've catch on the SYSBM movement as well as the Passport Bros movement. So they know we're getting success. And when you look at International Passports channel and other Passport Bros channels, of successful, good black men getting foreign women, these Keishas are like, whoa, they're actually leaving us. So let's try and be,
But let me say this though.
feminine.
I mean, is it a case of you can't win for can't lose? I mean, if you're saying you want them to be this way and like, you know what, let's take their advice. Now you're saying it's fake. So let's be honest. If that was a woman saying it to guys, oh, you guys are just playing to being provided, you ain't doing this building for anything, you're just scared, you're just mad that we're divesting. It's like at that stage, I'd say, fuck it. I can't do right for doing wrong. Whatever we try and do because we listen to what you're saying, it ain't gonna work out. So you know what, fuck it. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't know. I don't know.
It's like they're trying to like. Oh, I was watching one video. One Keisha said, "Well, if I talk really soft and low, then I can get a guy like that." I'm like, do you think we were born yesterday? Like, do you think black men are dumb? You think you can just be fake feminine and everything will be handed to you on a silver platter? Not gonna, no.
I mean, listen,
No.
you have to start somewhere, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. And let's be honest.
No, this is their fault, bro. They're lost.
I tell you what, let me pivot to this. Let me pivot to this, and say this. So, we all have our criteria and whatnot, and then the question then becomes, what about children's free choice? Do you believe in your children should have free choice?
No.
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 Go ahead, bro. Take it away. Take it away.
No, at the end of the day, children can't consent to a lot of procedures, right? They can't consent to a lot of procedures. Can anyone hear me?
Loud and clear, bro. Loud and clear.
Yeah. So a child, an 8-year-old or 13 or 12-year-old, unless they prove that they're competent, they can't consent to procedures. They need a parent's signature to consent to an operation.
But think about it. Sorry to cut you, but they are the ones who have to live in the marriage for the rest of their life, not you. You see what I'm saying? So you're not the one that's to be in the marriage.
I see what you're saying, but this is what I'm trying to say is about having the familial backing, right? If a woman gets her ass beat by her partner, at least with an arranged marriage, that her own parents would take the man out or beat his ass, or your family and your brothers will beat his ass. These things are done. You get like an insurance policy that, both sides of the family are working together to make sure the union lasts. You see what I'm saying? Right? And I feel that you get a bit more support when you know that on both sides of the fence, they're both cheering this relationship on. And they work together to make sure that divorce does not happen. And I think the current way of pairing up people in this community, right, allowing people to have too much choice, particularly women, no offense, they often make the wrong decision about male guidance. This is what has been said for time immemorial. If you give a woman a lot of choices, she will pick the wrong one most of the time. Okay, right? And this is why I feel that no, the children should not have a choice when it comes down, or a severely restricted choice, so they can make a good decision. What do children know? What does a child know that two adults who have life experience, who have their best interests at their heart, I would trust their judgment over a young person, even a young adult. And unfortunately, in this community, by the time the woman turns 18, she's already 2 kids deep anyway. Can't come back from that. What about the child who's born in a funky familial structure? What about that child? What happens then? Hey?
I mean, you paint the most negative picture, but I hear what you're saying, Zuli. I hear what you're saying. I'm not gonna, in your view, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Rest of the panel, let me open it up then. So, Should the children have any free will in this respect? KB Thomas, which other one?
But the brother has a point. The brother JLC has a point. Like especially in today's climate, brother, when like especially that in the UK and the US. No, okay, sorry, I don't know why I mentioned the US. In the UK, it's a liberal country, bro. You know, they're supporting this alternative lifestyle, and it's been injected into the education system. Why would I allow my children to find partners on their own when I know what's going on? They may think this is normal being a liberal, and I say no, it's not. I want you to carry on my bloodline. So in order for you to do that, you need to make responsible decisions. This is not, and that it comes in the form of choosing a partner that has the same mindset as your parents.
Now, my bro, let me just interject a second here, and I don't want to use an example, but just your thought process here. You're a travel bro. Now, what's if your parents? Because I know a lot of African parents, they're very staunch, not even marrying outside of their tribe. How would you counter that? Would you be happy with your family saying, no, you have to marry somebody of your tribe, where you're like, no, these women are like this. I want to go elsewhere and travel to like Japan, for example. How would you deal with that?
No, the thing is, so is this with race or?
It could be. I mean, I think Africans do it based on tribes, maybe race. I don't want to speak for a lot of the West African people, but I hear this a lot where they don't really like their kids marrying out to at least to certain groups. So it could be both. It could be outside of your tribe, then outside your race.
When it comes,
would you be allowed to marry this Japanese woman that you seem to have a?
Yeah, of course.
Like,
I love interracial marriages have been happening for a very long time.
Not in a large supply it is now. Do you think your parents, being a traditional conservative parents, because let's be honest, traditional conservative are more racist than liberals. We have to make that abundantly clear. They're more racist, they're more nationalist, they're more about our people. So do you think these conservative traditional parents are going to let you, of all people, bloody the lineage by marrying out?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of traditional families who are have interracial marriages, but the commonality is that they're traditional. You know, it's not a new thing, bro. Like,
yeah, but traditional Japanese is probably different than traditional, I don't know, Igbo or Yoruba. You see what I mean?
But I understand that, but I've seen black men who are happily married to Japanese women. I've seen black men who are happily married to Colombian women.
I don't disagree, but they're not arranged marriages, bro. I don't think their parents are necessarily the ones who had a hand in that. You see what I mean?
Yeah. So, but in a way, here's for me. Yeah, arranged marriage is a yes and no for me, because I want my children to be responsible enough to choose the correct partners, but they'll have to show me, and for them to get my approval. Because if I validate my let's say my son's girlfriend, I'll tell him straight to his face, no, I don't want you to date her. Stop dating her. Same thing with my daughter's boyfriend. I don't care about their race, brother. I care about, are they traditional?
Thomas, can I ask you a question?
I'm just sorry. I'm gonna get Zulu in here because I wanted to ask. I hear you, bro, but again, like Zulu, he seems to be a lot more traditional, and I have a feeling, bro, a lot of them won't share your same sentiment. Sorry, Zulu, what do you think about that? Would you let your kids marry out?
I mean, I don't want to say that's going to incriminate me, but needless to say, you know, I'm happy with my appearance. I'm happy with my partner's appearance, and I would prefer to keep that appearance as is. And I don't know why that's a controversial statement, but in this society, again, it goes back to this whole hyper liberalism thing. Like, so many of us in this society, we're extremely liberal, and other cultures don't play by those same rules. If you look carefully, upper class and middle class English people, they are very nationalistic. They wouldn't feel happy having a Thomas Demahin marrying their daughter. They wouldn't feel happy with that. Pakistanis most certainly wouldn't. Indians wouldn't. Chinese, Hong Kong, I have friends, they certainly wouldn't. And these other cultures are way more conservative. They're happy with preserving their lineage, their culture, their language, their genetics, their appearance. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for whatever reason, we want to have this funny belief system that liberalism is the new religion.
Yeah, and by the way, Thomas, I don't want to make it like I'm attacking. I think the point I was trying to make is this. We all said that our children shouldn't really be involved in the process, but yet I can guarantee I would have a different viewpoint about certain things than my mother would. Or my, you know what I mean? It's just like, that could be a big thing. And that's the only thing I was thinking about. What kind of choice should we allow our children to have? Because at the end of the day, like I said beforehand, you may say, oh, they don't know what they're doing, but true to a large extent, but they're the ones who have to pick up the pieces to the mess that you've built for them. You see what I mean?
Yeah. The thing is, I just want my children to be responsible.
Yeah, of course.
Like, you know, like use the initiative. You know, for example, if my daughter wants to find a guy, I want her to think about me, because a woman's first man is her father. You know.
Thomas, do you like black women?
What would you say?
Thomas, are you attracted to black women? I just want to know this question right now. No,
yes,
I won't have a go at you, because the reason I get the impression that you don't like arranged marriages, or your only caveat against arranged marriages, because arranged marriage, as the host clearly said, usually means you arrange with someone who belongs to your group. I've never heard of an arranged marriage that happens where you don't pair up with someone of your group.
Unless it's an old kingdom of kings which had to marry way back for peace or something. Yeah.
See, brother JLC. See, that's with me. Yeah, I'm giving my children responsibility, but I had my choice of arranged marriage. Yeah, of course they're gonna marry a black woman. Now let me specify on the black woman. She's gotta be foreign, because there's no way I'm allowing my son to marry a UK black woman. It's not happening. Over my dead body. It's not happening.
What's wrong with the UK black women again? Remind me about all the millions of them. What is wrong with every single one of them?
Oh, brother, come on, man. Come on.
I'm just curious. Let me know. I don't know, man.
let's not get into that stream a little bit now.
Come on. Do you want me to? Because Fiona's gonna.
Well, it's not just that. We get it.
Do you really want me to? Do you really want?
No, Thomas, don't do it. Don't do it.
Exactly, because Chelsea, you know.
I hear what you're saying. I suppose to
not make me, brother. Do not make me expose these quiches. Because I'm very.
Oh, Thomas, bro.
We should have the UK equivalent. We should have UK.
Who's Keisha?
It's not Keisha. It's like Kanika. That's what it should be. You know, like
Shaniqua.
Yeah, we need
Shanae.
Yeah, not Tyrone's. It's Jermaine's. That's what we should be talking about. Anyway.
Leroy. The original.
Yeah, but Everton, but they're old school names, isn't it? Like Winston, they're old school names. I think now
old school.
Jermaine and more like kind of Malachi and all that kind of thing.
Olufemi.
Brother JLC.
Oh yeah.
Brother JLC. Yeah, if I want to apply the arranged marriage policy, of course I would want my son to marry a foreign black woman. Same thing with my daughter, marry a foreign black man. But I want to give freedom of choice to my children, because I've trained them to behave responsibly, to know the difference between right and wrong. So I want to give them that freedom of choice. And if they fuck up, then I'm gonna apply the arranged marriage policy. Because I've set these rules for them. Do not F up when you find a partner. Like for my son, I don't want you to get into a one night stand situation and that girl tells me, oh, your son impregnated me. I don't want that. No, I don't want that on my conscience. Same applies to my daughter. All right. So I'm going to give them the benefit of a doubt as a loving father. Choose your partners carefully.
That's why I rate these cultures that get people married. Because bear in mind, a lot of African cultures still do this in African tribes. Is that you would try to get the person married off when they're young. You know, get them married off when they're young, so they don't have a high body count, fertile, and you know, get it happening around 18 to 21 years of age. Get things popping. You see what I'm saying? And
Asians, by the time they're like 25, most of them are married. By 30, pretty much most of them are married. I know that's the case.
But brother, how many? You know when you talk about these Asian arranged marriages, like, are they very successful? Because I've heard a lot of some divorce stories when it comes to like the Pakistani and Indian communities.
I know that from like the host nation, there's a much lower, at least official divorce rates. Now the thing is, with a lot of like Pakistanis and Bangladeshi communities, because it's mostly Muslim, they have their own little things which you won't know about. But statistically, though, it's a lot lower than the normal marriage rates that we have. Now, I've heard some horrific stories, bro. You're right, horrific stories, which I won't want on my daughter or my son. But yeah, I've heard some horrific stories. I'm not even gonna like say I've not heard that stuff.
Can I jump in here as well?
Yeah, go ahead, KB. Sorry about that.
No, that's cool. Yeah, because I generally, like I was saying, agree. Like I said to my son, I don't really mind if you interracially marry, but if I think about it, I think if there's one race I would make him stay clear from, and like I was saying earlier, people that know, is Asians. I don't want him to get with the Asian girl. I'm sorry. I've had too many, and it might be extreme, it might even be actually prejudice, but no. That one I will cut off straight away, just like you're saying, Thomas. I've had too many negative experiences with them. I've seen actual situations where brothers have been with Asian women and it never ends well. It never ends well. So that is.
But why are these brothers going there anyway?
Say again, sorry.
Why are these brothers going there? Everyone knows what the deal is. It's a closed, homogenous group. Why are these brothers so? Can't they read signs?
You know, they want to try out, you know, the South Asian flavor.
They want to get killed.
You know,
Bro, you know what? To answer that, I don't know. Because look, yeah, you got to remember as well. We've got this whole thing, especially in this country, and especially like millennials, of this whole BAME thing, right? This whole people of color. If you're not white, you're just one monolith. And there was one point when, because like my uncles and my dad and stuff, we talked about this before, and white man, you talked about this before, where Asian and black people, you know, were more of a unit. And if it was more like that, then possibly. But they've since shown their true colors when it comes to us.
Is it specific to us?
I'd rather my son bring home a white girl than an Asian girl. I'm not gonna lie to you. Straight away. No, straight away. No way.
Bro, you need to be more specific. Are you talking about East Asian or South Asian?
Well, especially being in the UK, especially South Asian, but to be honest, Asian full stop, but especially South Asian. Especially.
Yeah, I don't want Indian. I've never been attracted to Indian women or Pakistani women. So I wouldn't expect my son to bring home a South Asian chick. But if it's an East Asian chick, hands down, yeah.
Yeah, bro, you need to be careful with that, man. A lot of these Japanese cultures and East Asian cultures, the ones that I know, man, their families would be very upset if they brought home a black man, man. I'm telling you, Chinese particularly, Hong Kong's up there too.
Well, Hong Kong, right? Chinese, yeah. I don't want my son to. You know what? I'm being a hypocrite because my last girlfriend was British Chinese, so I'm being a hypocrite. But
no, you're raising a good point. And this is where I wanted to go next. And this is where, again, this is so funny because children see the action of their parents. Your child says, well, "Hold on, Dad. Hold on, Mom. You did this when I was my age. You did this." And obviously you're going to try to say, "Yeah, but I did the wrong choice." But they're not hearing that. They're hearing you're a hypocrite. They're hearing you did this. And you're trying to stop me from doing this.
You know what? I would love my son to marry, to have a Chinese girlfriend. You know? I wouldn't mind, or South Korean or Japanese.
Thomas, I got a question.
Go on.
So listen, man, all these cultures, Japan, China, these East Asian cultures, yeah, they love fair skin. Number one, a lot of them, yeah. And number two is.
But listen, I've heard it.
And the second thing is, let's be real, yeah. Nigerian features. Let's keep it a buck, yeah. West African, yeah. I'm half West African genetically, yeah. Our facial features, by and large, are quite coarse, yeah? That is the extreme opposite of the beauty standards in Japan and South Korea and China. They like delicate facial features, smaller nose, fair skin. Everything that they idolize is the opposite to what we are. Do you really think that there's going to be a high probability of acceptance going into a family like that? It's going to be like 1%, bro. Like, it's going to be super small percentage. They may smash, let you smash. That's a different kettle of spit. We're talking about marriage and family. Is that going to happen, man?
Bro, based on my travels, based on the black men I've spoken to, you know, you just need to take a chance. You know, you can't be this fearful, bro. Like, I've been to Japan once, and you know, I went to Nagoya and I saw Hafus. You know what Hafus mean? They are Japanese biracial people, and I hung out with Japanese black people. So, bro, black men they're wifing up Japanese women, and it's all about the way black men have presented themselves. Bro, everything that brother Jealousy, everything that you told me right now, you don't think black men have know this? You know this, bro. But we're just being confident. We are just we respect the East Asian culture, like the language, and we've operated correctly. And these Japanese women are like, hey, this black man's different. He's not the you know, what the Western propaganda has perceived him to be. No, he's articulate, he's smart, he's wearing a suit. So
the funny thing I find interesting is that people go and do all this effort to go and integrate into another culture which is openly hostile to your phenotype, our phenotype, that say they can't find a woman in their home country from which they were raised, of which there are millions of people which look similar to them. But apparently that's too difficult to do. But to go to the other side of the world, learn a new culture, a culture which is anti people that look like you, that's easier to do, right?
Bro, I just don't care, bro. Like,
and the thing is, though,
it doesn't matter to me, bro. To be honest, it doesn't matter. Because...
But you know what makes me think, Thomas, and this is where it comes to the forced marriage, arranged marriage stuff, and because you have a drive that you want what you want. That's what I'm getting from this. You want what you want, and that's fair. That's fair. And this what goes into the whole how much of a role are parents to play and how much role can they really play? Because again, you want what you want, and you're going to choose to say, you know, like you said, Zulia, yeah, you got a group who, let's be honest, historically and presently, they don't seem to, you know, embed well with cultures that look like ours. But do you know what? Your child want what they want. So my question then is this: I think I've already asked this before, but let me just ask it again. How would you handle that sort of stuff if you do not like the direction your child's going in, even if they do meet some of the criteria? Are you saying no, or will you adjust? Are you as a parent willing to adjust to the suitability of what your children wants?
So let me answer this, bro.
And then I'm gonna get KB in, because KB, I appreciate you've been on a bit of background. So
sorry, bro. Sorry, go on, brother KB. Go on.
No, go, Thomas. It's cool. Go, man. Go.
No. Like, for example, if my daughter brings in, you know, a white boy and he fits my criteria, yeah, why not? Why not, bro? I don't care about I don't care about their race. I care about my three things I'm looking for. If they meet it, I don't care. Same thing that applies with my son.
I'd be so interested if you could go into the future of like 100 years and see your children now look, I don't know, Caucasian. I'll be so interested to see what you think.
Bro, listen, bro, I'm not pro-black, bro.
I don't think you have to be pro-black for that stuff, you know, if I'll be honest, but fair enough. Fair point.
I was never pro-black, bro. So I just care about, you know, extending my family. You know, that's all I care. I never cared about the whole keeping it in the community. No, I never cared about that. All I care about, you know, having a functional family. That's it.
No, I hear you, bro. I hear you. KB, bro. What's your take on all of this?
Well, like I mentioned with the Asian thing, I'd be really against it if I'm honest. I know that because look, even if it was, let me use that same example. Yeah, if my son ended up with an Asian girl, they really like each other or whatever, right? To the point where even if they're all good, if their family's against it, and I've known for people to get injured over it, people to get paid off, this sort of thing, I'm not having my son go through that. So to be honest, when it comes to certain things like that, I'm gonna have to intervene. Everyone else, I will try and take a back step, but I will have a side eye generally. But I'm somebody, I don't really want something to have happened with my child. I don't want to be one of those parents. I know I can't stop anything that happens. I can't be with them 24/7. You can't, I can't be with him when he's an adult, when he's having his relationships. But at the end of the day, I'm going to try and intervene as much as I can. Maybe it is a bit covered in cotton wool a little bit, yeah. But the way the world is now, yeah, I think I'm going to be quite influential. I already am. As I said, I'm already planting the seeds. So I might be one of those, what you call a fast parent. That, if he really ends up resisting it, and then and he lets me know that, then obviously we'll have a conversation at the time, and I explain my reasons why, and then we'll see if we can go from there. But yeah, I will be highly involved, and if I co-signed this arranged marriage thing to so much to an extent anyway. But if I can help it, yeah. But at the same time, kind of at the same time, even more so as well, because he's turning 11, so the influence of the girls his age group are growing up with, it's either I'm getting involved in his marriage, or who he's going to select, or at least assist as much as possible with the selection process, or he's not get married at all. To these little 304s? Nah, no, sorry.
Well, the thing is though, and this is not necessarily joking, I hear you, bro. And the thing is, this is not necessarily arranged stuff, but even back in the day, when I listened to like my mum and what they said, the father would usually go to the father and say, I want to take your daughter's hand in marriage. And that was a time where the father would say, okay, yes, I agree to it, or no, I don't agree to it. So that's kind of a bit of a way in which we probably discount a lot, to be fair, these days, I think, that whole process. Now, let me just ask the panel this question, right? Not talked about this, and this is for me my biggest sticker point as to where arranged marriages should be the forefront of everyone's mind if you fit this criteria. If you're financially successful. Now, the reason why I say that is because if you have a family that comes from a background of financially successful, I know this is going to sound horrible to people, bro, sis, you need to make sure that you're picking the right partner, because one thing, the number one reason for relationships ending is finances. But not only that though, but think about it. You have another family as well that you may have to look out for. What's your take on finances? Is that a big sticking point, or even an issue when it comes to marriage?
Yes, but I'm gonna give my children the benefit of the doubt, because I want them to be responsible, because I don't want to have to come in and be an over controlling parent. I want to give my children the benefit of the doubt that I trust what they're doing is right. Well, go on, Chelsea.
The question was finances, is it important, or should they be? I mean, to be honest,
so
of course,
do you believe that, again, I'm using the example of Rishi Sunak. He married a billionaire. Now, again, he may argue about, that's not fair to other people, but there's a reason why that happened, I assume.
Yeah, marriage is a business contract, isn't it? You say this family is uniting with this family, and many cultures saw it as a transaction, a legal transaction, a business. I am giving you my daughter from this clan, and you are accepting my husband or son from this clan. Together, this is the new family. We will unite to put our resources together to help raise this family, extension of both families. So money matters, and you don't want to be in a place where the person has like 15 broken families on their side, and your family is all together and united and has generational wealth. It's dodgy. It's not a good position to be in, because she may have lots of family members begging for money, and you're wondering what the hell's going on. You come from a family where everyone's educated and conservative and financially secure, and then she comes from a family of hicks, and they're begging for money every other money. Then every weekend you have your house is filled with their single mother raised kids rolling around in the front garden, wondering why.
I'm sorry to cut in, because this is what I wanted to sort of preface. I'm just going to say this. Is it more based on the character? Because you can't help who you're born into, what family you're born into. Because I've had to say, again, my family history has been a bit of mix where, like on my granddad and my grandma's side, they were very educated, elitist, if you like. And my granddad's side, it was the opposite. And there was a very lot of issues that took place. So my question then is it, what's the levels? What's the barometer for this? I mean, Zulu, you picked a very, very interesting scenario, but what is I don't know, is it elitism, or is it for a reason?
It is for a reason. I don't understand what's the problem with this concept of class. If you can have someone who comes from a poor family but is aspirational, achieves financial success, and pairs up with someone who may have come from humble beginnings as well, but is willing to move up in their life. She may come from that environment. She's not going to ignore the environment, but she's going to realize certain things in the environment she came from was problematic, and she wouldn't want to carry that on to the next generation. In which case, that could work, because she knows and could appreciate the damaging cultural aspects, realize that difference, and say, okay, I love my family, I love my people, but certain cultural practices and environments from which I was raised, I wouldn't want to propagate. So in which case that would work, because you have someone who has the right mindset. So they're progressive, they're, you know, socially mobile, they're ambitious, right? You know, so you shouldn't really have as much of a problem. But it's a major thing of the mindset. If you have that mindset, you probably will be someone who will go and achieve things financially with a new family or with their own family. So I think that can work, the mindset as well as the money.
No, I hear you, bro. And this is probably where I'm at with things, where I think for the super elites, the wealthy, I do think there has to be more of a, they have to play the cards differently. As much as we want to try and say it's all fine, I think for most of us, let's be honest, like myself, again, it's more about the character of that individual and how it helps. Because again, you can't help who you're born into. No one can. We can't. I can't. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. So I hear that. I hear that. I hear that. Sorry, anyone else on the panel wants to?
Yeah. You was mentioning finances, why it matters. To be honest, in my case, right, I'm already doing so, and I'm going to teach my son about finances himself, because he's still going to be the male, right? So he's going to be mainly in charge of the finances and going in the direction it is. That's my responsibility to teach him that. In terms of the woman, for me, I don't think she can come from humble beginnings. I don't think she has to. Look, I would prefer if she at least knew how to handle money, or if she's had some sort of money around her, maybe not through her usage, but, you know, seeing how it works and not being sort of overwhelmed by seeing large to decent sums, if that makes any sense. That will be preferable, but if not, it's fine. Again, as long as the direction is as long as she doesn't come from a family or a culture of sort of leeches, if that makes sense. And that'll be up to me, you know, that we'll find out in the vetting process anyway, I believe anyway, with what I was saying. But yeah, we can work with it, because, you know, he's going to be the one heading the finances anyway, you know, so I'm not really bothered with that. You know, if you know, if the family comes from that, yes, possibly. I do agree with the class things though, and again with the selective breeding thing. If it can be helped, only one or two families that are from a certain class, have even certain educational attainments similar, etc., and, you know, you can meet in the middle, yeah, why the hell not? I think we should do that more, to be honest. So yeah, if it can be helped, yes, but if not, at least, like you guys been saying, she has an understanding or mindset, or at least is willing to go along with the program, because I'm going to teach my son how to lead anyway, how to. So as long as he's doing this bit, all she has to do is sort of follow suit. And if she's got attributes to assist with that and help it grow, then that's wicked, because yeah, he's going to be the one leading it anyway. So yeah, that's my answer to that one anyway.
No, I hear you. And to be fair, I used to be like kind of against it, but I suppose I'm more acute to it, because let's be honest, we always moan about the state of the community. So let's be honest, we got to have a different viewpoint of things, don't we? I don't know. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. Thomas, did you want to chime in on this, or we'll pivot to another point?
See, the thing is with me, so the original question is, if I'm part of the elite, should I apply arranged marriages, correct?
Yeah, sorry. I think, yeah. Do you think that if you are elite, you should more be, what's the word, hospitable to the fact of arranged marriages, because you have a lot of wealth to potentially lose?
That's a good point. That's a good question, bro. Yeah, I think I should. I should be very heavy on arranged marriages, because, like you said, bro, I don't want to lose anything. So I want my children to be responsible, and if they're not responsible, then I'm gonna have to make a decision. So I'm gonna have to find, you know, potential partners for them. But that's a lot of effort, bro. But at the end of the day, I know what I'm doing is best for my children. They may hate me for it.
Yeah.
Now, they may hate you, bro. But I care about their happiness and, of course, my future.
Can I ask a question to KB Jones, yeah? Do
Yes,
you
bro.
really dislike Asians? I mean, can you not rate Asians to at least put that most horny, or arguably the most sexually aggressive, horny group of men in the UK, definitely up there, either 1A or 1B, that they know best not to fool around with their women? Can you not respect the level of unity, code of conduct, that even arguably the most horn dog group of men in the UK, in the Western world possibly, are dissuaded without even lifting a single blade from matching to their women?
You know, good question. Yeah, good question. And there is some, okay, with their community unity, right? And there's this, well, there's to say the least, what I've grown up from is that Asians always look after their own, right? I'm sure some people have obviously maybe heard that phrase. So I do respect that bit, but at the same time, also as well, I've heard this from actual British Asians that have gone to India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, etc. The way they treat their women in their countries, they keep it hush hush, but they treat them terribly. And I know there's a black woman, black man sort of thing, but I wish some people knew how they can look, they can barely go into certain public places without things happening. Those, I don't know if anyone's heard of those sort of grape stories, but there's many you don't hear about. So
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, the buses getting
so
grapes,
within their own
gang
countries, they
grapes.
treat the women very, very bad, actually. And in amongst it as well, they have that whole fear thing. Because like I was saying, even in the cases I've known for, let's say a black male and an Asian female to get to that I've got together and want to be together, to the point where they'll even, like you say, like is mentioned earlier, the threat of disownment, etc. Like, I'll take out the will, or even, physically being hurt. That's just extreme, bruv. Like, do you know what I mean? It's extreme, and that sort of stuff I can't respect. Also, on top of the fact of, because from being a mid-80s born baby and physically seeing the way, because look, I think it's something I have maybe it's a grudge I have, like, but the way I've physically seen them, like the split us and them, and throw us under the bus time and time again. This is from school. This is outside environment. This has been young. This has been old. They do it all the time. Like, so
But why
I
do
don't
you
trust them.
expect
I
a group
personally
of
even less
people
than
who
white
come
people. Say again, bro.
again? Why would you expect a group of people who are not us to treat us as if we are them? This is why I'm trying to say the naivete. I'm sorry, the
No, that's fine. That's
naivete.
fine. I don't expect the
Yeah.
same treatment, but I know. But at the same time, then, like, when they came here, and the reason why I say with the gripe is, when they came here under our wing. We protected them, bro. We protected them. So now you lot are cool. You like, now we're an other. Nah, fuck that, bro. Nah, no, like, nah. That's what I'll never rate them. And even when even as being a millennial, and I've grown up with some, I went to mainly Asian high school. Do you know what I mean? I've grown up in certain areas in West London that are mainly Asian populated, and they are the biggest pretenders, bro. They, like, why it matters, you saying that the other day, even when little things, when you go in the store, that whole brother thing, when they're ready, we're together. When they're not, and especially relationship wise, even if it's like that, to the point where, forget the stereotype, even if they definitively have researched that this person is well scholared, they are well intentioned, their family background is all together, their finances in order, just because you are black, bruv, no, even if it's going to benefit their child, that, do you know what I mean? So I don't rate them, on top of the fact of they wouldn't have half the stuff if it wasn't for us. They was given, oh, bro, I'm going into something else now, bro. Like, oh, bro, they were
Right. I mean,
given, like,
this is gonna
grants
be
and
the live
loans
stream
in our
all by
areas,
itself. To be fair.
brother. Yeah, I'm going off topic. I'm going off topic. I can't stand them, bro. No Asians, bro. I'm sorry,
Wow.
bro.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Okay.
Wait, bro. Let me ask you this question, brother JLC and brother KB. Let's say, for example, your son brings home this stunning Indian girl, yeah? She meets all your criterias. Are you gonna tell her to fuck off all because she's Asian?
I would. I would categorically, because I would say, hey, I would say, why do you want to be integrated into a culture and a family, a belief system that sees you as inherently inferior? And I could use that for Europe, Italian. I could use that for Japanese. Sorry, Thomas. I'd say the same thing. Why I would not encourage you to integrate yourself or attempt to integrate into a system that fundamentally sees you as inferior. You already have to do this at the workplace. Why do you want to do this in your personal life? And if he
So
still says
let's say
yes, I say good luck to him.
let's say, for example, JLC, that your son's Indian girlfriend says, I'm open. I understand, your black struggles. So what she tells you that?
No,
Bro,
that's
it's
all
lies.
very.
It's all lies. You don't understand nothing, bro. Sorry.
I'll say, okay, that's all well and good, but I'm sure your aunties, your uncles, at least 50% of them don't share the same way, and and there's also a risk that any time, you might get jumped because a lot of
Yeah,
them would
true,
see
true,
it, and
true.
and they don't even know you or her, but they see a black guy with someone that looks like that, and you can get jumped in certain parts of the UK for doing that. It's very dangerous. And I'd say it's
True.
not worth it. See, this is why I get upset with a lot of black people. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go full Uncle Ruckus now. This is why sometimes I can understand why some people think black people are children, because it's like this naivete where they have this idealized version of the world that is totally disparate and removed from the reality of the world that they're in. It's like it's crazy. I mean, when did a lot of us not realize that Santa Claus doesn't exist, the Tooth Fairy isn't real, and there is no Easter Bunny? And this whole idea of unity and non-tribalism and liberalism holding hands is crap.
On that note, let me pivot because, yeah, man, chat's gonna panel's gonna get me banned with this conversation. No, I'm messing. It's probably gonna be in the live stream by itself. But a great question was asked in the panel. Let me just get to it by Abby. Religion. So let's move away from finances. We all have a viewpoint. It does play a factor in it. Again, I think people overstate what we say, but it is what it is. Religion, is that a factor that you want to consider? Because a lot of us come from, I would say our parents, grandparents are quite religious, whether it be on the Christianity side or the Islam side. So there's a massive factor in here. Is this a factor that you would consider?
Can I answer first again?
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
Possibly. But you know what's interesting with that, right? And this is in all cases, but let's say, for example, the Muslim community, right? And I'm thinking particularly not so much any Muslims that are Asian, but I'm more thinking about North African, East African, the Middle East, and etc. Right? Not in many cases, but in some cases, and I think it might vary by country, they can be just as colorist, prejudiced, racist towards us too. But I've seen cases when there's been a variable when the guy, well, has it been the guy? It's mainly been the guy, yeah, trying to marry into the woman. He's been, for example, Muslim as well, right? So like let's say a West African Muslim. And in some cases, you can get into those families. It's very few and far between, but it can happen. On the flip side, oh, bruv, like, would I want my son to get with someone of any religion? I don't agree with all the religious practices, so possibly no. It depends again. What I will say is, if he is going to get with someone who's of a certain religion, if she is Christian, Muslim, whatever, if she's going to be so, be so. I wouldn't want one of those half hog ones. You know that I think that's even worse, when someone claims to be a certain religion and they're kind of half in, half out. I don't like that. So if she's one of those people, then yeah, because she's sort of like messing about. She's kind of two-minded anyway. But if you do get with someone that's religious and she's really into her religion and you like her, the first thing I would say is, especially if it's nothing that he's from or we're from, is okay, you might have to take the time to understand it. I may have to do the research to understand it. Also, what her family's like as well, how extreme it is. And also, I don't know, like the whole sort of general premise of how they do relationships and stuff. So I wouldn't mind too much, but I'd rather prefer, because my family, well, my mum's side, the majority, they're all Christian, and you've got a few people on my dad's side that are Muslim, so it's a bit sticky in my family. But generally, yeah, if he's gonna get with obviously a Christian girl, it'll probably be easier because he's been, they're gonna be brought up a certain way, with similar sort of beliefs, not the same, etc. But yeah, I'd rather, it doesn't, if it's not even something I'm even used to or would expect. If she's in, she's in. There's no point. I don't want a liberal religious believer. That's just like, I don't want that flaky stuff. So,
exactly, bro. But like, bro, you see, when it comes to these liberal religious believers, man, bro, these church women, bro, don't get me started. They say, "Oh, I believe in God," but they attend Notting Hill Carnival.
Now, is there a point we're missing here with the cultural differences of certain religions when they get together? So, for example, and let's be honest, if you're a Christian, you're not supposed to be with anyone who's not a Christian.
Exactly.
And
yeah,
I suppose the question I'll say that are certain religions a little bit less hospitable to certain things that take place? Because let's be honest, and again, this is no shade to anyone who practices Islam, but Islam is very much a dominant force in which supersedes pretty much everything. I mean, everything. So not only is there a massive change from the God that you be accustomed to, but the whole culture of that individual is different. So a lot of it is the culture differences that we're really talking about in regards to certain religions are overpowering.
I actually, you know what, bro? I actually respect Islam because, you know, like you said, it's very dominant. You know, you can't criticize Islam. I mean, you can, but you're gonna get a lot of pushback because I've seen in the UK, anyone can criticize Christianity, but no one's allowed to criticize Islam. Why? Because you're gonna get consequences if you do that.
That sounds very, you know, I think is that conservative in your viewpoint, you know, to behead a guy?
Yeah, that is conservative. I just wish that people who are true Christians, they back up the religion. I see a lot of these fake Christians. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Back up Christianity. What's this nonsense? That's why I respect Islam, because I'm not gonna lie, some Christians, they don't have a backbone. Well, the Muslim people, they have a lot of backbone. They say, oh, no, you're gonna criticize our religion when we're gonna mess you up.
No, I hear that, bro. And because I suppose the question then would become, would you then convert for the sake of your family, or would you just stay? You'll be happy to say you can do it, but I'm going to be good here. Because that's another thing. With a lot of these religions, they proselytize, don't they?
Yeah, see, me, I love being a Christian, but I don't.
Well, let me see. This is where I'm going to get at. I don't want it to be.
No, go on, bro. Go on.
How would you be a Christian and then still would say I'm happy for my child to date in another religion? I
wouldn't be.
Be accepting, shall I say? Let me say accepting.
No, I don't want my children to marry someone from another religion.
You wouldn't.
No, I want them to marry a Christian woman or a Christian man. No, oh no, brother. I'm not allowing my children. Like for me, I would never go for a Pakistani woman. I ain't converting to no religion, bro. I'm a Christian. I was born a Christian. I'll die a Christian.
Okay. No, that's fair.
What about you, bro? What about you?
Me?
Yeah, I know you're a Christian, bro. Would you allow your children to marry someone who believes in the Islamic faith?
I'll be honest with you. I think this is probably how I grew up, and this is where I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'll be a bit more cautious. I'll have to look at it really in depth because a lot of it stems from the same book. So yeah, I'll be very, very cautious on it. But that's just probably my ignorance more than anything. But yeah, there's a lot of things which from the outside, I don't know if I like their practices as much. I think it's Christianity's been secularized that Islam has not been, in which leads for Christianity to mesh better with other people as opposed to Islam in its current guise. So yeah,
that is very true. But what you said, I couldn't have said it better. That's so true. Like, I want Christians to get together with other Christians. I don't like the fact that, you know what, I'm gonna be frank here, bro. Like, I don't like the way people have messed up Christianity. The true version of Christianity is you marry. It's like heterosexual relationships, bro. I'm seeing Christians now, they're saying, oh, it's good to have gay marriages. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is this? That's not a Christian relationship.
The new Christians, that's what they're called. The new Christians.
They're shit, bro. There's no new Christian. There's the only true version of being a Christian. It's man and woman. That's it. That's how it's always been for millennia. It's this again, bro. It's this Western liberal culture that's messing everything up.
Sorry to jump in, bro. I'm gonna jump down to someone else can jump on the panel. I'm gonna drop that into the chat, bro.
I've got the paid version, KB, so you don't need to worry about that stuff. It's all
okay. Say no.
But yeah. Sorry. Thomas, do you want to have a final thought before I pivot to the new other two people who come up on the chat?
All I'm saying is this, bro. I want, for those who are Christian, yeah, stop allowing this Western liberal nonsense to interfere with Christianity. That's all I'm saying, bro. I don't like this LGBT alternative lifestyle infiltration into Christianity, because in the Bible it goes against liberalism. It goes against this whole alternative lifestyle. Well, how do I know this? Sodom and Gomorrah. What did God do? He burnt down Babylon. He burnt down Sodom and Gomorrah because it went against everything that's traditional. But I allow the other brothers to speak, bro.
All right, cool, no problem. So Pelu came first, so I'll go to him, then Deep Sleep. I think I know who you are anyway. You've changed your name, I think. Or maybe not. Anyway, Pelu, welcome, bro. How's it going?
It's going good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Now, we've the original question is, do you think we will benefit from having arranged marriages? So let me start off there. What do you think?
It depends. Overall, no. I mean, okay, there's levels to it. Like, you could have arranged marriage, but you could also have matchmaking. So if you're talking about matchmaking, yeah. But if you're talking about you have to get married to somebody, and you have to do it, would you benefit? I mean, you can, but then there's a lot of chance for abuse. There's a lot of. I think people should have some choice, though. I think matchmaking would be good. It was matchmaking where people hooked you up, but you didn't necessarily have to be with each other. You like if you had a choice of you could agree. So how much does the person have a choice? Do they have to just go with what the arrangement goes, or do they have a chance to say no or yes?
Well, we've kind of asked a few questions about that. Now, quite a few people on the panel were like, no, they really shouldn't have a lot of choice because they're children, they don't know better, the parents know better. So honestly, most of the panel are on the agreement. No, I'm on the case of there are certain things I think we should definitely be a matchmaking service. That's the way I'm with. It's a matchmaking.
Yeah, I'm with that too.
That's what I'm with. There are things we should just have to look out for, like, the culture of the individual, how hard working, those kind of things. But I'm with the more that kind of hybrid.
Yeah, I'm with the matchmaking, because even now I'm doing a matchmaking thing right now, but even myself, but still, but yeah, matchmaking, yes, yeah. If you talk about matchmaking, of course, yeah, people definitely benefit from that. You'll definitely benefit from matchmaking. Now, now, if it's a situation where you leave no choice, that's a whole different story. Then, when you leave in no choice,
No, I hear that, bro. I hear that, bro.
And then real quick about what you were last talking about just now about, okay, let me ask the Thomas guy real quick. You said you only want your child to marry a Christian, right? Well, let me ask you this: does race matter too? Like, how much do you put Christian? So if I don't know if you're black or white, but assuming you're black, would you mind your children being with a white person if they have the same Christian religion? Or the opposite. So does religion trump racial and cultural considerations for you? And if anybody else wants to answer, they could answer too. Cause that's the last thing I heard when I came in.
Yeah, I'll answer, but I don't care about race. Well, I don't want my daughters to marry a Asian man, but white man, black man, mixed race, as long as they fit my criteria, so this involves being a Christian, then yeah.
So if he's an Asian Christian, he can't be an Asian Christian?
What did I just say, bro? I said no Asian.
So it cannot be an Asian. So if he's an Asian, no, and I just want to be clear. No, I'm just double checking to be clear, exactly clear. That's all I'm double checking. So
let me be clear. So I want my children. I don't want my daughter to marry an Asian man. Yeah.
Well, even if he's Christian, even if he's a devout Christian.
No, I don't care. I know.
Why is that, Thomas, again?
I would prefer my daughter to marry. I want my son to marry an Asian woman, not my daughter.
Don't you think that now? This is where I have to jump in right here, like a wrestler interrupting a fight back in WWE with Steel Chair. Listen.
Go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
How could you say that you want your own son to be with a Japanese woman over your own race? Like, I'm sorry, that's where I have to say there's something seriously fucked up there. I'm sorry, I don't care if you don't like what I just said, but the fact that you said you'd want your own son to go for a Japanese woman over, this is unbelievable. That basically means you have just clearly shown that you pedestalize this woman to such a degree that you would want your own son to go for that group over your own. That is fucking crazy, bro.
I said I don't care about the race. You can go for a black woman. I don't care.
Wait, hold on. You just said you would prefer your son to go with a Japanese woman. You categorically said it. So clearly race does matter because you put that.
Yeah, I would. And I also would want him to go for a black woman as well.
Okay, now that I've checked you, now you say it.
I don't care about race, bro.
And another thing, this is another thing.
Except for Asian though, but you care about Asian though. No, but how you say you don't care about race, right? But you said Asian, no.
They're upset because they know that they want this ethnic free fall where everyone goes for everyone else. Now, because the Asian man and the Asian people, they're not playing that game of, oh, we go for everyone, you go for everyone, and they just take their own. They'd rather stay in their own. There's like vitriol and hatred towards them because they don't want to play in this quote unquote liberal, open matchmaking society, which you all know is a lie. And people get upset and butthurt at the Asians because they stick to traditional conservative values to a higher degree, such as stay with your own. And I think that's where the resentment comes from because they're not letting you touch their women.
Right. Let me pivot because I don't want to get into an analysis of Thomas's views.
I don't see that happening, bro.
Yeah.
No. Whoa. I wasn't being aggressive, but Thomas got personal with me. I was asking I personally was asking an objective question about religion. It was purely objective. I wasn't even making it personal only because he said it, so I want to objectively see that. Okay, so you said the religion, but then is Asian. But what if but I'm trying to figure out if an Asian is Muslim.
I'm talking about my son. I'm talking about my daughter, not my son.
Okay, yeah, no, but I'm trying to understand. Okay, so your daughter. So your daughter.
You have a different criteria for if it's your son or your daughter. Sorry, I'm behind.
So if I don't want my daughters to marry an Asian man, but I wouldn't mind my son to marry an Asian woman.
There's a lot of that where, oh my gosh, it's a different stream, but I need to pass because this is what men think about their children being black. If the man is the one who's the father, whereas if it's a black woman with a non-black guy, it's not a black child. There's a lot to unpack in that kind of sentiment, which is what I'm hearing from you, Thomas, a little bit, where it doesn't spoil the seed because if it's the man, but if it's the woman, it's something completely different.
Would you call it favoritism, bro? What would you call that?
I mean, if I'm being very, 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 very harsh, I almost call it misogynist. Or other time, I just think it's based on a viewpoint, a talking point, which is transcended over here when it comes to the seed of the father is what counts. You know what I mean? Which is why when it comes to transracial. Sorry, go ahead.
That goes for
that's bullshit, though. By the way.
Hold on,
sorry, deep sleep. I'm going to get into you one sec. Sorry, Thomas. Finish your last point, then I'm going to get to
that's a different stream. That's something to talk about, bro. Because maybe I have favoritism towards my son than my daughter.
Really, bro? Really?
I don't know, bro. Some parents are like that. You never know, bro.
Well, okay. I'm gonna ask this question to the panel a little bit because you raised something which has to be talked about, which is what I feared would happen. But give me a second. Sorry, Tom. Again, it's not about you, Thomas. It's a wide. It's been going on for centuries about how we treat our sons to our daughters. But let me go to deep sleep right now. Deep sleep. I suppose jump in on the conversation where you want to take it from. Do you agree with arranged marriages? What do you think about all this combos? Just jump in where you want to.
Yeah. Look, this is like when I was younger, I never understood the point. Like, especially on my mom would always say, "Look, I'm not accepting any woman that you marry if I don't handpick her for you." And, you know, especially because obviously I'm Ethiopian, but I live in South Africa. So when she used to see me date like other women, whether of any race, like even white, colored, even blacks, she would always say, "Just know that this is just for fun. Don't take any of these women seriously." That's like the message that she always made sure. And obviously, when I was a kid, I didn't get it, and I was like, "Oh, she's just being a conservative lady. Like, this is the past." But now when I grow up, I actually understand it. Like, no, I've seen a lot of people who do this cross-cultural marriages, and those things are a disaster. Like even the cross-religious ones. Like you have to understand, most of the times when you cross-religion marriages, either one person converts. What do you think the person of the other family the person that converted, their family member would probably detest you for converting their daughter or their son or whatever. And don't you think in the future there'd also be a battle to try and convert those kids to either one side or the other? So when they go to one family member, they're going to try and push them to one religion and the other. Like it's a whole lot of confusion that, look, arranged marriages tend to just deal with completely from the beginning. So I kind of agree with, like, now that I noticed all of that, I've grown to understand that. I realized, bro, arranged marriages are the way to go. Like all this other, our love overcomes everything. That's some bullshit, man.
All right, let me ask you a question real quick. All right, then let me ask you this. So it's two issues then. It's two issues, right? Is one having a interreligious marriage, one having an whatever marriage, like you're from a different culture, whatever nationality or different whatever. So now, you Ethiopian. I don't know if you're Muslim or you're Orthodox. What are you? Are you Orthodox? You Ethiopian Orthodox?
No, I'm Protestant Christian. But
you're Protestant Christian. Okay,
between Protestant. Well, kind of like I have Protestant Christians. I have everything actually. I even have Muslims, but those tend to be extended.
Okay, so but your main core immediate family is Protestant,
most
right?
Ethiopian families
Is your immediate family Protestant, right?
Yeah.
Your immediate family is Protestant.
Yes.
Okay, so your immediate family is Protestant, right? So now, would your parents have a problem, or would you, or however you want to frame it? Would your family have a problem? You're marrying another woman who's Protestant from the same Protestantism that you follow, but they're from a different culture. Let's say you're Ethiopian, but you live in South Africa. But what if you found a Zulu wife or something like that, but she had the same Protestant religion that you have? Why would that be a problem?
No, let me just answer your question. No, they prefer my own culture, because culture is two things. It's religion and then your own culture as well. Like the food you eat, the stuff that you do. That there's two different types. So no, like for them, their preference is Ethiopian, Protestant, Christian. That's it. Like even like she used to hate anyone that I was dating. Like she would tell me any woman that isn't Ethiopian, like this is, if you date them, just know it's just for fun. Like,
but what if she's an devout Protestant? What if she's like the best Protestant she could be? Like what if she's like a super Protestant,
hey, bro,
and then she's like,
can I ask something?
That shit doesn't matter.
Mr. Pelu, yeah. And this is what I have to go and side with my man, the South African dude, Ethiopian.
What does those Protestant even mean?
I don't know. I'm just saying hypothetically. I don't know what it means. I don't know. I'm asking a hypothetical question about how you look at the world. It's not about. I'm asking how you look at the world.
Brother, why do and this is that we do Westernized blacks. We beg a lot, man. We're like orphan. We're like the dog that doesn't have a home. We have to go begging to other cultures. Please love us. Let us in.
No, I'm not taking any beg. I'm talking about. I'm asking a real philosophical question. My question is totally objective.
Brother,
it's totally objective.
Brother, it's not objective because you're already acting like your position.
It's a leading question.
How is not objective? How is my question not objective? How? You're ridiculous now.
With some sort of issue. This guy's the loud guy who speaks at 100 miles per second. The vote.
You have problems, man.
Come on now. Just listen.
Okay, fine. I'll go in but I'm just
you're
trying to
sick. There's something wrong with you. You're a sick coward. You're pathetic.
What is going on?
You're a pathetic human being.
Hey, bro, what's going on right now?
What up, bro? Let's.
You know what I mean? I just made a point that there's just the whole other thing of begging, like an orphan or a dog doesn't have a home, always knocking on the door and pouring at the door of another person's home, another man's patriarchy, another man's community, another man's culture, another man's country, and saying, "Hey, why won't you let us in? How dare you not accept me to get you in? Let me have your daughter. How dare you? Don't you know who I am? How could you not let me date your daughter? How could you? How could you not allow me to portray my self-hatred, low ethnic self-esteem, and go worshipping at your daughter's feet? You know what I mean? This is sad, man. Listen, just accept the fact that people who are conservative tend to have a cultural ancestry or a history that they're happy to preserve. They like their self-image. They like what they represent. They feel that it is better than anything else. They want to preserve it, so they want to pair up undiluted and preserve it that way. Just
Wim,
accept it. That's how it is.
Can I answer the guy's question on why even just the super Protestant lady isn't enough? It's because
go ahead.
like culture is two different things. Like there's religion and then there's culture. Like even if she is the praised Protestant, she will still never have the same like like my own traditional cultural ties that I have with my own family that creates that connection. So the food we eat, the New Year, like we have our own New Year. Like today is actually like the Ethiopian New Year and stuff.
Different. Yeah, I hear about that. And
yeah, all that stuff, bro. Yeah. The food you eat, the language you speak. Like if she's from another country, bro, how are my kids going to learn the language? It's all going to be on me now to teach them. Where if they grew up in the same house, both me and her are speaking the same language, they just pick it up growing up. You see, all that stuff, bro. All that things come into play.
But let me give an example now, right? You say you live in South Africa, so right now you don't live in Ethiopia, right? So, but you're Ethiopian, right? So if you care about maintaining that, wouldn't you just say, okay, I'd rather just live in Ethiopia? But if you live in a different country, and it depends how you want to. So so it depends your plans. Like if you plan on staying in South Africa or whatever, how many generations you think your family's still gonna speak the same language if you're in South Africa? Do you really think if you stay in South Africa, no matter what you do, like by the third generation, your family's gonna be speaking whatever they're speaking in South Africa? It just is going to be the case. So if that's the case, you might as well. That's a whole different issue. You might as well say, I need to stay in Ethiopia and not leave, right? But if you're in a whole another place, it's only a matter of time before they assimilate to whatever that country is. So I mean, if cultural preservation is your thing, I think you should live inside your culture more than anything, instead of living outside. But if you live outside, if they have the same belief system you have, like okay, food, like you could eat another. So you have to eat the certain food, and you can't like cook two different foods. Like you have to eat only only Ethiopian food. Like you can't have a mixed eating food. Like it has to be. I mean, everybody got what they want, but it's like I just want to understand so it's because of the if it's a cultural thing, wouldn't cultural preservation be best if you live in that culture? But if you're like not living in that culture, how you really expect to preserve a culture when we don't live in it? Thank you.
Someone give me a second. There's someone at the door. Can someone else talk to it while I?
Brother, why do you want to hold hands with everyone?
I'm talking about people is having the same religion. If people have the same exact religion, but happen to be from a different region of the world, but they have the exact same religion.
But that's just how it is.
Yeah, that's but you have the exact same religion. If you have the exact same religion,
yeah, but that's not how the world works. Islam says you should be able to
Protestant, and I'm from Ethiopia, and I have a Protestant woman from Japan.
Happened, they shared the same religion, most of them. They were all Christians when Jim Crow was going on. Did they get treated the same?
But they did, but they kind of did it. I mean,
what they had the whole black churches. They had legalized segregation. They had the similar Christianity. They believed in Christianity, but they were treated differently.
Yeah, they did. But they had two different churches. Their churches, like the black churches and white people, white people didn't go to the same church like that.
But the point was, they still were part of the same religion, man.
And that's a bad religion, though. Yeah, I mean, okay. That's a whole different conversation because I don't even agree with that religion.
It sounds like you're drinking from this Kool-Aid that says culture and ethnicity doesn't matter. Religion is just not one. As I said before, listen. When it comes to these matchmaking and stuff, you want to standardize as much as possible. This is like a randomized controlled trial. You want to keep the variables as controlled as possible. The only different variable should be the two different people shouldn't be cousins and stuff like that. Culture, religion, nationality, language should be standardized as much as possible, and you have the highest chance of success. Everyone knows this. The brother here from South Africa, the Ethiopian guy, he said the same thing. He said that, you have all these variables. Someone's going to be the submissive, someone's going to be the dominant, and the family that's in the submissive position won't be too happy about it. So it's best to standardize.
But that's two different. But it's two. But if you have let's say you have the exact same religion, right? And if you black and white, if you have the exact same and there's no racial caste system within your religion. Just as hypothetically speak, I know some religions have a racial thing, but just say your
Oh,
religion
okay, I'm
doesn't
back.
have race.
Do you want me to answer the question?
One set,
Oh,
deep sleep.
okay.
Pele talking, and
Oh,
I'll come
sorry.
back to you, deep sleep. Go
No,
ahead,
no.
Pele. Go ahead, Pele.
I would just say like, okay, like for example, I know some people who are black and white and they're together and they got a relationship and it's working. Is working. You know, they have it. They have the same religion. It's working, right? You know, I know people different. I know people who black but different types of black, and they're together. They have the same religion, but they're together. You understand? Even my little sister, she's engaged to I'm Sierra Leonean, right? But my sister, she's engaged to an American, but he's African American. But they work. It works. I mean, hope it works forever. But you know, but so it's working. So I see. I've seen different cultures. You know, not all this, and a lot of times you got the same culture and divorce. I know a lot of Sierra Leoneans who marry each other with the same culture and same religion and same everything. Even though we have a lot of interreligious ones, I don't necessarily do all those. I understand when they break up, but most times people are marrying the same religion, the same culture, and they're still divorcing and not staying together. Even in America, even in my Black America, where I live at, a lot of people don't stay together. They have the exact same religion, exact same culture, but it's a low marriage rate. They're not coming together. They're not doing everything. So I'm like, the way I look at it is marry who loves you. I mean, no matter what. I mean, of course, certain things I think is going to be more of a blockage. Like I think religion is going to be more of a blockage. But if you have the exact same religion and somebody loves you, but they happen to be a different culture, but you have the exact same religion and you love each other, hey, the way I look at it, get married. I mean, marry who wants to be with you. Don't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna marry someone because of my culture." Marry who wants to be with you, because someone could be from your culture and it could still mess up. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen a lot of broken marriages. I know most people have. Well, but where I live, very few marriages stay together. It's very few people. It's mostly a lot of single motherhood. Even with the dad is take care of the child, they're not married. Like marriage is not common. So I think to promote marriage is good, even if it's a different culture. But if y'all want to get married, I think at the end of the day, getting actually married, staying together, and having two-parent households trumps cultural considerations to me. Thank you.
I mean, I suppose for there's some things I don't know. I think it would just be a. I mean, ultimately, you want to have a two-parent household, but there are some things which, for me personally, it trumps, because let's be honest, you're likely to have more differences when it's difference to culture and stuff like that, which can lead to a lot of breakups that I've seen, at least from my anecdotal experience. But sorry, deep sleep. Sorry, you wanted to get in on the question. Sorry, before I pivot to the next.
Yeah, like I remember he asked me a question before, and then I left because I had something.
Yeah, Pedro, do you remember what
Yeah,
it
I
was?
was just gonna answer.
No, I would ask you about
He was asking me something
about
along
culture,
the
right?
lines of
About culture.
the longer I stay outside of Ethiopia. Yeah,
The
I know
longer you
your
stay
question.
outside of Ethiopia, by the time you're there for like third generation, your kids is gonna be South Africanized by that point. No matter how much you try,
Okay,
by three generation, your kids gonna be South Africanized. I mean, don't get me wrong.
that's
It
not a
could be
thing.
different. I don't know. It could be
Yeah,
different.
I
It
got
could
your
be
question,
different.
but let me just
Right.
answer. Let me just answer. That's not a thing. When you say South Africanized, South Africa is like 10 different cultures all at once. So there's South African Indians, all those groups have distinct cultures. But I get what you mean. Like
But let
I've
me ask
been
you this
here
though.
pretty much from the no, let me just answer. I got your question though. I've been here from the time I was like 7. So personally I can say I've grown up here and a vast majority of my life has been here. And yeah, like I'm not the exact same as the person who grew up in Ethiopia. But I still have cultural affinity. Like I still relate more to that person than I would like the average South African. That's just the fact. And okay, let's just say I marry an Ethiopian and we live here and then we have kids. Hypothetically speaking, I could even go back. But I'll just tell them, look, marry another person, another Ethiopian who grew up in South Africa. I'll try and find them a person who is similar to them, a second generation Ethiopian South African. I wouldn't want them to, because then they'll have even more relation with that person, because they can both relate on having Ethiopian parents that are living in South Africa, being born in South, and they don't have to like cross. Just let me just show you how hard it is. How if I wanted to marry, let's say a Zulu woman, Bro, I'm not gonna pay 15 cows for her. Why the fuck would I need to pay 15 cows for a woman that's not even my woman?
50 cows, bro.
Like,
I forgot.
Yeah,
to say
but not everybody gonna keep that same
You know what I
exact
mean?
culture all
And
the
not to
time,
mention,
having
okay,
50
let me
cows.
just
Some
say,
people live more modernly. You know, not every person is doing
okay,
that
why would I need to pay
old-fashioned
a
50
cow for
cow
him?
thing.
Bro,
Let's be
okay,
reasonable. You know
I don't
that.
care. No. Why would I need to pay? Why would I need to go through any of that cultural bullshit?
Yeah, but not everybody's gonna go through. Even in modern times, I bet you not every
Oh
Zulu's
my
paying
God,
50
bro.
cows for no white
This guy,
something.
Okay, it's not the cultural stuff. Like, there are nuances to the. Okay, when I go to their home, what language are my kids going to learn as their vernacular outside of English? Her language or my language?
English or whatever language your natural.
Outside
Okay,
of
no matter
English, man.
what. In three
Most of us are
generations, your family's not speaking whatever language you came from Ethiopia in South Africa. In 3 generations, they're not. It's just not about to happen. It's like even here.
but you
Okay, like for
sound weak,
example,
bro.
like for
You sound
example,
weak.
it's true.
Come on,
I'm telling the truth. Like for example,
come on, and how
Okay, look. Let me just
look,
make this.
I live
Let's
in a
say,
place with a lot of
here.
Ethiopians, right?
No,
And
brother.
I live in a
Okay,
place with a lot
wait,
of.
brother.
As a matter
Can
of
I
fact,
just
let me
say
tell you a true
what I
story.
say?
Let me tell you.
Oh my
I'm gonna tell
God.
you a true story real quick. Like even me, I live in an area with a lot of Ethiopians, right? I have a lot of them, right? And and Ethiopians have a reputation for mixing less than most people, but even here they mix a lot. Because I know a lot of even my generation, I know a lot of half Ethiopians, half African Americans, half Ethiopians have. I know a lot. For the funny thing about it, though, I know a lot of half Ethiopians have Caribbeans. For some reason, Ethiopians and Caribbeans they intermarry here a lot. They just do it. I know. I live in DC. I think DC has one of the largest outside of Ethiopia has one of the largest Ethiopian communities probably in the world. I think. If the last time I checked, they said it's like the biggest. It might be the biggest outside of Ethiopia in Washington D.C. There's a lot of Ethiopians, right? And it's like even them, you know, what I mean, half Ethiopian people who live here that's mixed up. So after a couple of generations, how much generation think that's really gonna you really gonna live outside your country? You might have this imaginary thing, you might be Ethiopian forever, but if you leave
Look,
Ethiopia, is
brother,
about is
can I just answer yes, we got your question. I don't care enough to go through another woman's culture and have to go through her nuanced culture. Like, okay, let's just say here, I live closer to Indians. Like, I used to live in a place where it's like there was a lot of Indians. Bro, there's no way on earth I'm marrying an Indian woman. Like, even if I liked her, I would just date her and let it go after a while. Because like, why would I want to go and pray to Vishnu or all this bullshit? Or if we're trying to get a marriage, go and do all the cultural bullshit. I'm not trying to do that. I don't give a fuck about that. And frankly, I don't care enough to do that.
nah, but I never said different
I don't
religion. I
want
never said
look,
Vishnu and
brother.
Vishnu.
Let me
I
just,
said if they had the same
brother,
religion you had. I
brother.
specifically said the same religion.
Yeah, I still don't care. I'm not trying to go and eat her food. All that, like, I want to eat her food when I go for restaurants. I'm not trying to smell that curry shit all over my house on a day-to-day basis.
Raw, bro.
Bro, I don't get it. Like, I don't care to participate in
So
another
she's a
person's
perfect.
culture.
She's a nice Protestant. She's the nicest girl, but she eats Indian
I
food.
don't
But her
care.
food, whatever food is bomb.
I'm saying this personally,
Whatever
Hey,
Indian
bro.
food is
Dr. Wim,
bomb.
By the way,
Dr. Wim,
I don't know why you keep bringing up other Ethiopians. I'm saying
thank
this
you.
as a personal rule for myself. I don't give a shit what the other Ethiopians are doing in
I didn't
America
say
or whatever.
I didn't say
I'm
other
saying as a
Ethiopians. I
personal.
didn't say that just now.
Bro,
I said what
can I
if she's
say
an
something?
Indian, right? But she makes
Bro, I
good
don't care.
food.
I'm not
Her
marrying
food
her.
is the
I
bomb
don't care.
food, right? And she's
I
the
don't
same
care.
religion in the U.S. And she
I
loves
don't
your
care.
family. She loves
I
your
don't care.
everything. She comes
Bro,
to your
can
Bro,
we
I
get an
don't care.
IQ
cookout
test to
and
get
eats
on
your
this panel
Ethiopian
so we can
stuff.
get rid of Mr. Palin?
No,
Bro,
we might pay
do I
him,
need
bro.
to
We
say
might pay him. No, we're not doing that.
Will?
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Am I not being clear? I don't care, bro.
I
I
suppose
don't care.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. You don't care. I'm just asking questions for the because that's a topic. So I'm asking relevant questions for the topic, and my questions are totally objective. Okay, I just want to see how far it's a nationalistic cultural thing. How far does it go? Because even me, I look at my culture, but I know if I stay in America in a couple of generations, is no way because even me, right? Like my sister, she was born in DC. I was born in Sierra Leone. My little sister, she was born in DC. We both like my sister, like we both speak Creole still, but my sister she can speak a little bit, but she can. But I doubt by the time her kids and grandkids, unless they go back to Sierra Leone, they're not speaking Creole no more. Because even me, I speak it, but I don't speak it that fluently. Even though I understand it perfectly, I speak it because I grew up here so long, and then my sister, she still speaks it too. But it's like by the time I can't imagine my grandkids. If I stay in America forever, I can't imagine my grandkids being able to speak fluent Creole unless
brother, you get your point. By the way,
take them
I
there
don't
for
care.
like.
Personally, I don't care what my bloodline is doing 5 or 6 generation down the line. I don't care about that. I care about myself and raising like my future kids. That's all I care about. That's all I can control, and that's all I care about. And personally, I want my kids to grow up in the same culture. I don't want them to share another culture. That's just me being selfish. And I know Fiona was like, "Oh, why don't you just date?" Look, first of all, there are not that many Ethiopian women, and secondly, if you date another Ethiopian chick in South Africa, the other parents low-key expect you to marry her. And I'm not trying to ruin relationships with my family, so on and so forth. And yeah, I like beautiful women of other, like I like them. I'm just not trying to marry them and make them part of my whole future moving forward. So I am being a bit dusty. I get that. It is what it is.
Can I say something that I agree with him? I agree with that brother. I like his mentality. I like his conservatism. I like the way that he doesn't ask for begging. I like the way that he has a strong viewpoint and direction in what he wants in a woman. He's definitive, and that's the benefit of having a strong culture. Clearly, that he has is that he has direction and guidance and has a plan for the future. And as he said, if you're second generation like us in the UK who have African parents or Caribbean parents, you would probably be best and more compatible with a second generation who comes from Africa or the Caribbean. This is obvious. And he's talking about the standardized thing, which I talked about: same religion, same culture, same language, same ethnicity. Those 4 variables, if they're controlled, you probably have a higher chance of a lasting relationship.
No, I hear you. Hey, here's the thing. I'm sorry, this is just truthful of just normal relationships. A lot of people, when it gets down to it, they want to have personality compatibility, and a lot of it is what you said, Zuli. So this is nothing new. Cultural, religious, obviously financial compatibility. A lot of it's just compatibility. That's what I hear. And obviously, the more you're compatible, the more likely you are to have a long. Again, nothing is guaranteed in life. The more you like to have a long-lasting relationship. That's really the standard.
I want to make a comment about some people saying. Okay, I'm sorry. Go.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to make one point. Look, even when it comes to friendships, like even when you don't try, like my closest friends, my 2 closest friends. By the way, I have lots of friends from other, but my 2 closest friends, even without me trying, ended up being like similar Ethiopian South Africans that grew up here. One of them came at around the same age as me. The other one was born here. Like even when you don't try, those are the people that you are the most compatible with, because you just like you understand stuff with one another. You are compatible with one another. You've had similar life experiences. You know the nuances of one another's experience. So what more in an actual like marriage that would be even more compatible if you had a woman that has the same life experience as you. What would like the average colored woman or South African Zulu or Xhosa woman, or even a South African white woman, like we're not that compatible. It just is what it is, bro. I don't know why you guys.
You don't believe in love trumps all, then you don't believe in that love trumps all stuff,
bro. Love is just lust, man. That shit fades after like 10 years, man.
All right. Okay, wait. Let me say something real quick. Some people, like I don't know who this lady. I don't know where she's from. Dangbe, whatever her name is. Talking about me in South Africa. Okay, I mean not South Africa, South Carolina. Okay, let me tell you my history in South Carolina. First of all, I actually used to spend all my summers in South Carolina growing up, all throughout. My family lived in Orangeburg. Actually, I have a whole family in Orangeburg, South Carolina. I used to be in Orangeburg, South Carolina, all summers, every summer long, for my entire life growing up. So I've been through South Carolina. As a matter of fact, I even went to college in the South. I went to college in Atlanta and Georgia. But I've been through South Carolina. I've been through Orangeburg, been through Myrtle Beach, been through Charleston. That's why I spend my summers every summer. My family's in South Carolina, then Orangeburg. So don't say I don't know about the South. I've been through the South the whole time. But Orangeburg is all black. I mean, where I live in Orangeburg is a black part. And I mean, don't get me wrong. We got the races there with the KKK, with the Confederate flags and stuff like that. But hey, I've been through South Carolina, so I'm super familiar with South Carolina, especially Orangeburg.
Thomas is in the chat saying that he had to fly back from Japan, but they think that because you're black, you brought COVID into the country. I'm joking. But
Right. Let me
talk about the Sea Islands. As a matter of fact, my family go down and see Honest to go to the Gullah stuff. The Gullah community and the Syrian community are intrinsically connected. And matter of fact, they invite us to all the stuff. Whenever we have the Gullah parades in South Carolina, my entire family goes with the whole Creole Descendants Foundation. They go represent there. So South Carolina is not a strange place for me. I be through South Carolina. I can go through South Carolina all the time. I stay in South Carolina.
You don't have to defend yourself like that. Same with Thomas. Thomas, people in the chat, bad. I mean, Thomas, I don't know how you feel about all this stuff, but just let you know that, you know what I mean, I know that they seem to be way dissecting everything that you believe in. So it's fascinating. But yeah, come on, people. We can do it proper. So yeah, Thomas, just let me know. Anyway, let me listen. I'm all for leniency, but I'm just saying, I'm just seeing the comments. I'm just looking at him like, whoa, bro. You know what I mean? Thomas has his viewpoints. As I respect it. We love it. We respect it. You know, we're all different here, isn't it? So it's all good. But there's a question I wanted to come back to, and this was actually, I would like deep sleep on this a little bit. When it comes to if you have a daughter and a son, do you have different criteria for each of them? When it comes for picking, do you think do you have different criteria if it's to pick, you know, your arrangement? So Julie, let me ask you this question because I think you will. Well, let me not say anything. Do you think you will have different criteria for your son as opposed to your daughter, or vice versa?
I might do naturally. I think that if you have a daughter and she chooses a man who really should choose someone based on me because I'm the father, and she goes for someone that doesn't look like me, it would hurt a bit more, no?
What about the son? I mean, what about the mother and the son, or even the son? I mean, because at the end of the day, that son will still have kids who could be men as well. You see what I mean? So your grandson could still be not looking like you. You see what I mean? Does that not work the other way around?
I don't know. I'm just talking about the next generation. It just would hurt a bit more if your daughter is supposed to choose a guy that is like you because you're the father, and then chooses someone that's not like you at all in appearance. I would be like, what did I do wrong that my daughter's gonna pick someone that's like me?
Okay. Fair enough. KB, question to you.
Yes, bruv. Do you know what? I was gonna say what Zula just said, but to be honest with you, I think I'd be just as harsh on both because I'm thinking of like my son, right? Because he's generally like, it's something we've been actually kind of aware of and kind of got our eye on, that he's very soft on, which he should be, but he's very soft on girls, women generally, which is a good trait to have. Like he's gonna, when he gets his long-term partner, he's really gonna look after her. He's really gonna appreciate her. But at the same time, because I know he's that sort of character, especially when it comes to the concept of girls, women, etc., there's a chance, you know, he could be taken advantage of. So initially, I probably would have said I'd probably be harsh if I was like for my daughter or something like that. But as I particularly know, I've got a son and how his temperament is, I think I'm going to be just as choosy on the women that come into his life as well, actually. Because it's almost in that same notion as well that, you know, that men can't be, you know, affected by the women they come in contact with, and because they can. And especially, you know, my son's temperament, because he's such a sort of mellow person as well. Yeah, like I don't want anyone taking advantage of him and just like letting him go for it. So yeah, I think I'd be just as harsh if I had a daughter, to be honest. So
no, big ups. And you don't have the same sort of hang-ups if oh no, you kind of have the same sort of viewpoint of both should be the same, isn't it? So
yeah, it should be the same. Yeah, definitely, man.
But okay, I hear what you're saying. But would you have a hang up a little bit where, again, potentially that your daughter brings home a guy who doesn't, I don't know, look like you, for example? Would you still feel it differently than if it was your son? Would you be like, oh yeah, my bro, you're out here killing it, whereas your daughter's like, where have I gone wrong? Because Zulu raised a good point, you know, a little bit, where there's that something inside us where guys are a bit like that. They're more territorial over their women and not over their men, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Well, I'll put it this way, for my son, I mean, obviously I'd want him to bring someone who he at least finds pretty, but do you know what I mean, or attractive. So yeah, I mean, from the guy point of view, from a daughter point of view, if that was the case, that looked like me so much. I mean, preferably, but to be honest, that wouldn't. Again, I'm sorry, I will say the Asian thing, but you know how I feel about that already.
Yeah, bro.
But aside from that, I mean, it's more of how he is with her. I mean, because regardless of the race, even if he was, you know, black, brown, mixed, or whatever, yeah, you know, he wouldn't get any more leeway just from being from our culture, or him being Ghanaian or St. Lucian or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So it would make me think, okay, is there going to be would they treat her differently because of, you know, these difference in race, culture, and the way men and women are? So I'd have my eye on it, but I'd like to think anyway. I mean, I'd like to think that I would have enough discipline to just to have my eye on it, but not to meddle with it too much. Like I said, I would be trying to be an active parent enough anyway. So, you know, during the, again, vetting process, if I get to see what type of man my daughter would bring home, and then we can go from there. Because in terms of the morals I've been brought up with and try to, there's going to be certain morals that it doesn't matter what race or religion, color, whatever. If he doesn't have those, then we've got a bit of an issue, and that goes across the board anyway. You don't have to be from a certain part of the world to have those certain things. And then you've got the intricacies of how well versed is he, what does he want out of life for himself and for them, if there's going to be a them. Are they willing to, are they ready to take on the responsibility of looking after my child, especially if it was my daughter? Because if that's the case, if you can't look after her, then she might as well stay with me, because I got her otherwise. Do you know what I mean? So
I hear you.
It's all of the above, I guess. But the same with the, you know, woman with my actual son, because, you know, are you going to be one of them where he's literally just going to, I mean, I know he's going to take on looking after her as well, but are you going to have his interests as well? Like, you know, especially that, you know, his temperament is. So yeah, I'd be the same on both. But again, all vetting and seeing what type of person. But, you know, if there starts to be things like red flags enough, I will bring it up. I'm somebody who will bring it up. And yeah, so.
No, I hear you, bro. No, well stated.
Thank you.
Thomas, question to you, bro. How do you see it? Do you have a difference between if you had a son versus your daughter, or vice versa?
He's battling the chat.
I was gonna say you, but all right, we'll come back to you in it, Thomas, because I know, Paley, what about you, bro?
Yeah, what I think it'd be different is a man or female. Yeah, because I think naturally people are more probably way more defensive about who my daughter marries than who my son marries. But
now,
it's not going to be purely on race, though. No, it's not going to be purely on race. No, it won't be purely on race. It'll be on other factors. But I'm going to be way more protective of your daughter than a man, because a man he has to learn the hard way sometimes. You know, and you could tell him, of course, you guide him. You're right. But at the same time, there are practical differences between men and women, and you have to take those into account. There's practical difference between women and men. Just say because let's say you have kids, they have kids, and something don't work out. Who's left with the kids? The woman's gonna be left with the kids. Single. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's a lot more protective you have to be over the female. I can see that. Because you know what I'm saying, now, because there's gender is a practical objective difference. It is a practical objective difference. So yeah, I think I'll be way more particular about who my daughter's with than who my son is with on my end.
No, I hear what you're saying, but I suppose isn't there a little bit of hypocrisy here? Because why would you agree that obviously again it's more fatal? That's not I'll say the word fatal. It's more severe if a woman makes a poor choice than a man makes a poor choice. Because let's be honest, and this is where I'm going to get to the hypocrisy. We know the man will leave or can leave if he does something like he didn't. And this is why I get a little bit with the hypocrisy here, where a man can leave and does leave to go and start a new family, whereas the woman, she can't really leave a child, it's growing inside her. So shouldn't we be a little bit more like, you as a man, you should make sure you protect your seed, and you don't, I don't know, it seems to me a little bit like
but how is it? No. I said purely that we should be more defensive over the female. That's what I said, right?
I'm saying, shouldn't we be now saying as a man, because of this, we should, you could almost say, we should be treating like, I mean, it works both ways, isn't it? But again, with the guys, we're more lenient, which don't you think allows for more of that stuff to take place because the man will leave? It's like shotgun marriages was a thing because men would, again, you'll get together, and then if you didn't marry my daughter, I'm coming around with a shotgun to shoot you. But now it's like, we're blaming the woman in it.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I said you should be more protective over the female. Shotgun marriages was men be protective over their daughters.
True, but also to retake because of the honor part, and I get that. But I'm just saying, shouldn't we be drilling into our sons to make sure, as Thomas was saying, don't you be there coming out here sleeping around all these type of women, which leads to the potential of what you've seen there. That's all.
Yeah, you should, but boys are gonna be boys, though. I mean, hey, that's what we say. We say boys are gonna be boys. Hey, boys are gonna be boys, though. Hey, okay, yeah, you're right. I mean, you're right, though. Don't get me wrong. It's not right. Okay. Let me give you true things in my story. I'm gonna tell you about my own family. Only because the person I'm gonna talk about, he's dead right now. Even though I love him to death, my grandfather, right? My grandfather was like that, right? My grandfather, he died not knowing how many kids he got. Because he used to have a kid like every couple months he would have another child. And he was married the whole time. He was married to my grandma the whole time. But he just went around the whole Sierra Leone, just doing what he wanted to do. And you're right. It's wrong. You're right. You're right. Because people do have a double standard that men, because they have this boys gonna be boys, or even in Creole, that's what we say. We say the Creole, but the same. But it's like, so yeah. Fornication not a good thing. You're right. Fornication is not a good thing. Having relationships outside of marriage is not a good thing. And you're right. We should say it's not good. So yeah, I can see that point.
I've got a question for you, sir. Wim.
Go ahead.
What this guy Deep Sleep? He made a good point. Like, why don't more second generation Caribbeans or Africans just pair up with other second generation Africans or Caribbeans? It just seems so odd to me that they would be the ones you probably have more in common with, but there's so many single black women and black men that I know, and it's just kind of weird. Like, why Asians do this so well? They pair up with other second generation. It's very confusing.
I'm with you. That's my experience. That's kind of like my it'd be so much. That's my transition. So much easier because of that fact. Now. You've been in this space a bit of a time. You know the reason why that doesn't happen. Actually, maybe I've posted some videos about the viewpoints of a lot of black men, second-born generation, to their counterparts, and how like white women are much easier to bed up. White women are much easier to do this, and that kind of other good stuff. So there's a lot of those type of things, which is the reason why I don't know, it's not happened like that. And the fact that we don't have a culture which is more harsh, fast about who we marry and who we date and that kind of stuff, which is why Caribbeans are like, they're dying out. I'm telling you, dying out.
Yeah, I've accepted that. See, that's the thing with Caribbeans in general, is that you have to pick a side. Basically, you either pick to return back to your African roots and heritage and make an active effort to do so, okay? And if you want to pinpoint it using genetic tests, that's fine. But if you want to go and just say West African culture and we assimilate, like that guy on another YouTube channel who's African American who goes to Africa a lot, and we trace his heritage, or you side of Europeans, you can't sit on the fence. And this goes for Africans born in the UK from African parents. You need to make a choice. Either you pivot towards European culture or Japanese, or you return back to your African roots. You can't sit on the fence, because either with time, a decision will be made for you, in my humble opinion.
No, I hear that. And their likelihoods based on what we're seeing, just, you're not lying. You're just not lying for a lot of things, for a lot of things.
But let me ask you this: if you live in Europe, aren't you going to be European after a couple jobs? How long are you going to be in Europe and not be European? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. I never lived in Europe, so I can't tell you. I live in DC, so it's different. Because over here, everybody's black. Oh, not everybody, but the base population here is black. Especially my side of town. Like literally everybody's black. Like it's very few. Like we just started having a bunch of Afghans just moving because of the whole war thing. So in all the Section 8, all the low income housing is full of Afghans now. But besides that, everybody around here black, right? But if you're in Europe, just say you're in England somewhere, you're in Europe. How many generations? Okay, even if all y'all, just the black people get together.
I get your point. I understand what you're saying, and you're correct. Okay, and the decision, in my point of view, is how long you're going to stay in the UK or in these countries. Yes, and if you're going to stay, you need to make sure that you have active links in your countries where you are the majority, be that a house, regular visits, dual citizenship. Yes, I understand it. I get the point. I agree. And for our group, it takes a shorter time to be assimilated because of lack of unity. It will only take probably one generation, and then you get Jessica X's popping around. So I get it.
And this is the thing. I mean, this is probably the reason why I suppose for us, because arranged marriages, I read the article which their preference was within their group, and then they branched out again a matchmaking type approach where they would, have a more, let's say, liberal. I don't like that word, but let's say a lot more a liberal approach to it, but still within the group. And that's why, again, to try and preserve their culture as best as they can do, because there are groups that have been in societies where they're the minority for hundreds of years and have still retained, obviously their culture evolves, but they still retain a lot of their essence of their culture. As for us over here, will that happen? I forget about it. But yeah, that's what
let me, okay, give me an example of what you're talking about. Can you give me an example of what you're talking about?
How do you mean? Sorry.
Okay, you said there's groups that have been in different cultures for thousands of years and retain the culture. Can you give me an example? Can you give me an example?
The Malays in China,
Okay.
for example.
Yeah, thank you.
You said the what?
Malays.
You said the Malays in China, or you're talking about the Chinese and Malaysia, right? You're talking about Chinese and Malaysia, right?
Correct.
Okay, Chinese and Malaysia. Okay, could they have a large enough numbers to do so?
Wim.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
We can even do this here. The Indians in South Africa. The Indians in South Africa have maintained, you would say, at least 80% of the Indian culture. 80 to 90%. They don't mix with the average South African culture.
But let me
you can maintain your culture. It's all about, look, if you just kept intermarrying within that same group, over time, some things will change.
But let me ask you this though.
Within your culture, not everything stays 100%, but you'll still retain like a vast majority of the. And secondly, why would anyone care about what happens to your bloodline 7 generations down the line once your body has already decomposed?
We're worried about the Indians, right?
Our kids, grandkids. That's it.
Let me ask you this though. About the Indians, I want to ask you a quick question about the Indians of South Africa. Are most of them still Hindu, right? They still practice Hinduism? Like, what religion do they practice? Is that a factor too? Because if you still have the same religion, right? If you have the same religion, I understand why they would keep their culture, because they have the same religion, so they're keeping the same religion going. But just say you're the same exact religion as the other person. If you go to a country and you're the same exact religion, how long is it going to last if you're the same religion? If you have a different religion, that's one thing.
What is this defeatist culture? In 2,000 years down the line, you're going to be assimilated, so you might as well just throw everything away now. Like, what is this? Bro, who cares about what happens to your bloodline 7 generations down the line? We're talking about your children and your grandchildren, or if you're lucky enough, hopefully living long enough to see your great-grandchildren. But mostly great-grandchildren is where it ends. If even the Malaysians are still within your cultural line, who cares? You're going to be...
Because I want to address people in the comments. They talking about, because even example of Malaysians, right? The Chinese and Malaysia. The Chinese and Malaysia are also the reason why they're maintaining their own culture and not assimilating to Malaysia, is because they have a totally different religion than the Malays. The Malays are almost all Muslim, and the Chinese are not Muslim, and they don't intermarry that much because of religion. But if there was a bunch of Chinese Muslims,
that's part of culture.
It's religion. It's religion, because if the Chinese were the same religion as the Malays, they would have intermarried a long time ago. It's because they're two different religions. The Chinese are not Muslims.
Potentially, but the thing is, with Islam, I'm going to say this: Islam, it is such a cultural experience. It can't help but influence the culture. Your religion influences the culture.
I know
what you can eat, what you can't.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that if the reason why the Chinese I'm not mixing with the Malays in Malaysia is because of religion.
No, Wim. I actually get his question, and the answer is no.
I get it.
There are just as many Hindu Indians and Christian Indians here in South. I'm not sure about the numbers, but there's a large amount of Christian Indians here, especially if you go like to Durban. There are a lot of Christian Indians. They don't mix with the Christian Zulus or Christian whites or anything.
But what church are they from?
Despite religion.
Are the Indian Christians, are they part of like Indian indigenous churches? Like I know in India they have their own churches, like the Indian Orthodox. They have their own Syriac Orthodox. So what about the different churches? Is it the exact same churches? And I know
Yeah, most of them are Protestant. The ones I know are Protestant Christians. I'm not sure if they have an Orthodox church. I don't give a shit about their culture enough to to be checking them like that.
Hey, let me ask this because
But yeah, like, dude, come on, man. Let's stop beating around the bush. You are not if there's a clear feature difference between you. Like, you can look at the average Indian, you can look at the average South African black. Clearly, there's going to be a difference between them. Like, looks also play a part. Like, why are we beating around the bush? No, they're not the same. They won't be the same.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask this question, Pelu, because, and it goes back to a little bit what Zuli is saying, but I suppose, is it a case where I want to use the word a defeated mindset, or is it more realistic, where once you're in another nation, another land, you've just accepted it's just going to be a case of your culture is going to get lost within the source, and that's it? Is that how I understand it? Because you seem to be on this, how long is it going to last for, and where we're trying to kind of maintain it a little bit. Are you kind of just on the note of, well, if you're in another land that host isn't your culture, that's pretty much going to be job done?
Sort of, because it's like, yeah, it's sort of, yeah, because you can to a certain extent, but it breaks down, because if you're living in the same entity and then you have these divisions, I don't know how long it's gonna go good for your country. Like, it's hard. I mean, because even in Sierra Leone, where I'm from, you know, it's eventually things break down like event, because we used to have a bunch of tribes, but slowly the tribes are mixing in more, and now everybody speaks the same language now. So it's going to be a time, if Sierra Leone stays together, it's going to be a time where Sierra Leone is going to have like one national culture. All the different tribes are not going to I mean, people still have their heritage and still have their names or whatever, but they're going to all be speaking Creole. I mean, even right now, it's already the case, because I know a lot of people in Sierra Leone who can't speak their tribal language, but they can speak Creole. You know, they can speak Creole, but they can't speak their tribal. They can't speak their, and especially the intermarried, especially if the intermarried between tribes, most times they're only going to grow up speaking Creole. So, and those are people who are indigenous. Those are not even people who move from a different place. These are indigenous Sierra Leoneans. So it's going to be a point where you know, you might have your different things, but if you're living under the same entity, eventually that national culture is gonna assimilate everybody into it, because that's the only way it's gonna have a coherent political order. So I mean, because look, people in the same place, if there's no artificial barriers that separate them, are gonna mix with each other. I think because at the end of the day, humans are still humans. Like, you might have different cultures, but at the end of the day, you're still humans, and humans are going to adapt to the environment.
Here
and all
we
the humans
go.
in the same
Rainbow
environment
flag.
come together.
Kumbaya.
So I believe humans.
We are the world.
So my thing is that humans are ultimately one species and one race. Humans are ultimately one species and one race.
That's what my ideology is based upon. Certifiably cuckold, cut.
Come on,
Wim,
what's all the insults for? Like, I don't get what's the insulting is for. Like, I don't get it. Brother, like, I'm not doing that to you. It's one sided. You're the ones, you coming insulting me. What am I doing to insult you that you're saying all these insulting things to me? I don't get this stuff. You're a pathetic coward. You're really pathetic. Like, what am I doing to you?
Wow.
Can I just say one thing?
Like, stop that nonsense. Like, what am I doing to you? Like, this whole issue is one sided. Like, what the hell am I doing to you? What the hell is your problem?
Brother, you triggered, bruv.
What the hell is your problem?
Hold on. Now, I'll let Pelu come back at you, Zulu, because you did call him, you know what I mean, some words. So I had to let Pelu get that in, because he's right. Come on, bro. He did please a different viewpoint. I think, I don't know, would the right word to be used, globalization? Is that the right word? Probably that you think a little bit, Pelu. Is that the right word?
I'm gonna say humanization. I'm gonna say ultimately all people are in fact humans. We're all the same species. Yes, I think humanization is gonna happen.
We heard you. Can we just say one thing? Black men are the only ones who go around talking about this bullshit, man. Oh, we're all one. We should just all intermix. I've never heard an Indian man say what you say. I've never heard a white man say what you say. I've never heard any other group of men say what you say outside of black man. And it's a bit embarrassing that we are the only group of people that go around saying this bullshit, man. It actually needs to stop.
Okay, but look, listen. I see Indians marrying white people every day in America. I see Chinese and whites marrying. I see blacks and Chinese marrying. I see blacks and white marrying. In America, it happens all the time. In America, I don't know about everyone in the world. In Washington D.C.,
Yeah.
it happens
Look,
all
we're
the
not saying
time.
people don't okay, look, we're not saying people don't intermarry. I'm just saying they don't, their culture doesn't go out of its way to justify it by singing the "We Are the World" song, or trying to philosophize about, oh, we're all one
No,
at the end of the day. Like,
I'm saying the
and
fact. I'm
yeah,
saying
like
the
what?
fact.
No. The
Humans
point
are
you made also.
one
No.
race.
Okay,
Humans
bro.
are one
Yeah,
species.
we get it. Okay, we get it. The point you made also. There's a huge gap between intertribal marriages that from tribes that look the same. Emphasis on tribes that are the same, that look the same. Meaning, if I looked at you in another Sierra Leonean tribe, I cannot tell the difference of what tribe you're from and what
And I
tribe
can
that
tell the
dude is
difference.
from.
I can tell the difference.
Wait,
I can tell a
bro.
lot of difference.
Look,
I
can I
can tell
just
the
finish my
difference.
point, man? Look, we listen to you and you like, I cannot tell the difference outside of that. If I looked at you in a relationship with a white woman or an Indian woman, even from a mile away, I can tell that difference. So there's a huge gap. There's a huge difference between that. There's a huge
I
difference
can tell
between
the
an
difference between look.
interracial relationship and an intertribal relationship. It just,
Not because look,
it
I
is
can tell
what it
them
is, man.
between
You can't say that those are the same.
Hey, look, I can tell them between my people and a Fula. I can tell, I'm look, I'm part Fula, but I can tell them between Creoles and Fulas, and I'm actually part Fula, and I can tell the difference between them. I can tell the difference between a lot of tribes. You can tell the difference between people because people, if you're in the same tribe, when you're in different tribes, they came. You understand? Because people migrate. Not everybody originated in the same place at the same time. So when different people migrate, different tribes do look different. Even if you're different
Okay,
tribes, you can tell each other apart.
I'm dropping off, lads. I'm going to hit the hay, man. Deep sleep. I've got to say, this is why I really want to move back to the continent at some point. I'm working towards that because, but that mentality that he has, you ain't going to see that in the UK, bro. It's not. We've got plenty of Mr. Palus out here. It's sickening. It makes me sad,
Yeah,
and
Pedro, I
it's
swear.
depressing.
You're clearly trying to contort every point that I make so it fits. Like, I'm clearly saying it is so much easier to see the difference between a black man and an Indian woman, or a black woman with an Indian guy, or a black dude with a white woman and shit. And the culture is far more different than it is two tribes living in the same area with one another that kind of
how about
mostly
okay?
80% of the time look the same, bro. Stop
Okay,
trying
so
to
let me
equate
okay,
you marrying into different tribes
okay.
within Africa to you marrying another different race from a different continent, bro. It's not the same
Okay,
shit.
but you just said that you're from Ethiopia, but you're not gonna marry another South African from a different tribe in South Africa. So so who's contorting what
Bro,
now?
dude, do you realize how far Ethiopia and South Africa are? They're literally almost two
So
continents
so
apart.
Ethiopians are not. So
Oh
Ethiopians
my
are
god,
not. So okay. So
dude.
the way you draw the line between. Well, I'm sorry. Hey, I'm gonna call. I'm gonna get back on because my phone about that. But I'm gonna come back on. I'm gonna come back.
There is one thing I wanted to sort of ask the panel here, and that's this. Do you know when let's say there's a maybe intercultural, interracial dynamic, does one group hold more sway and therefore does one group have more leverage in that relationship, or do both of them come with the exact same, let's say, ranking, if that makes sense?
I'll answer first. I think finances definitely play a part in it as well, and sort of financial attainment. So I could suppose does that come under class? I guess so. Racial, I don't think, well, there shouldn't be. I think it depends on the family's mentality. For example, if you come from that sort of family that kind of sees themselves inferior to, say, let's say, to white people as a whole, even if they don't sort of enforce it on a daily basis, but their sort of thought process is like that, then it might affect it. As an example. So for me personally, I think it depends on your family's outlook and your general outlook as well, and also obviously the culture and nation you're from, how they generally perceive themselves as well as other people as well. I suppose on the flip side, if you're somebody that comes from a cultural background or family that sees themselves as superior, then to other people, other races, other cultures, whatever, then obviously that can be a hindrance too, because it's almost no one's going to be good enough, or certain people aren't going to be good enough. So in an ideal world, it should all be the same, but we know it's not always seen as that as well, which is why I think the family background and culture is very important, because it's not only this person. You need to know what sort of family you need to know who you're dealing with, So yeah, to me, I think so. But there's some that come in with that sort of hierarchy or inferiority complex, etc. But yeah, so an example.
No, I hear you, bro. I don't know whether Thomas is still in the chat. Deep sleep. Let me go to you then. What do you think about that? Is there a imbalance normally when you date out of culture and interracially? There was a situation in a chat where among Africans, a Ghanaian would have more sway over Liberian or Sierra Leonean. I mean, is that something that we may experience in your opinion? I mean, do you view any of the groups, let's say differently? Yes, I'll use that word, differently.
Yeah, I mean, that happens everywhere. Like, there's always a dom and there's always a sub, technically speaking. Like, even within my family relation, like, my mom comes from the second biggest tribe in Ethiopia. My dad is my dad's tribe is a small tribe. And yeah, so technically I lean more towards my mom's tribe, because you get to see a lot of those people and meet a lot of those people. And like, I've never even heard my dad's language. Nor do I even know how to say a word of it. Yeah, like my dad's tribal language. I don't know that.
Has he ever spoken that language to you at all, Deep Sleep? At all?
No.
Gosh.
Okay. Okay.
One second.
Okay. So yeah, that always takes place. That always takes place, but yeah, it is what it is. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, these people that we're all just one human race, bro. That stuff doesn't fly most of the times. That's just a nice thing that liberals like to say, but no, like, usually in all relationships, there's always the culture that the kids lean towards the most, and that's usually which parent is the most dominant. In my mom's case, it's not because either one was just dominant. My mom's tribe is just more dominant than my dad's tribe, so the national language literally is their tribal language. So it is what it is. Like, I learned that language from the time I could speak. Like, everyone in my family, even my dad's family, speaks that language. So even my dad's family, when they speak in my mom's tribal language. So it just ended up being that way. But yeah, like, come on. Like, this idea that you're going to have interracial children and they're just going to both take to your culture equally, that's nonsense. That doesn't happen. And that's like in theory, but in practice, that doesn't happen.
Okay. So let me get back to where, because I got caught off, my phone died. I don't want to use the bathroom. My phone died. I should have kept my phone on. But okay. So now that you said about tribes, so you say you wouldn't marry somebody from another tribe in South Africa because Ethiopia and South Africa are far away. You could tell each other apart, right? So, okay. So now, what's the distances? So now we're gonna we have to get the distances now. So now, if you are Somalian, right? Can a Somalian can a Somalian marry an Ethiopian of a different tribe? If it's okay. Oh, I know some tribes look different. Like, I know that some tribe. Okay, if I'm Afar, should I be able to marry
brother? I'm not here, brother. Can you please just? I'm not making social rules for everyone. I'm giving you my own rule, and in my own rule, I can't see myself marrying a Somali because they are hardcore Muslims, bro. I'm not trying to recite the Quran with that or something.
Oh, okay. So okay. Just pretend they're Somali. They're a Somali Protestant. Let's say we have a Somali. Okay,
no,
what's the closest Protestant that looks different? Okay, what's okay? Kenya and Ethiopia. The Kenya and Ethiopia border. They border, right? Kenya and Ethiopia have a border. Okay, so if you have a Kenyan Protestant, is Kenyan Protestant too far away from an Ethiopian Protestant?
I don't know. I've never personally met a Kenyan.
How far is this?
So I can't tell you.
You said Zulu's too far. You said South Africans are too far. So how far can you go?
Bro, I'm
how
not
far is
marrying
the
outside of
distance?
Ethiopia, man. Shit.
So
I don't know why you keep asking me.
Would you marry? No, it's a relevant question. It's just an objective philosophical question about the topic.
Look, okay. I'm not marrying outside of Ethiopia. That's it.
But so you want to marry
Eritrean?
Okay. Would you consider Eritrean close enough? But that's too far.
Those are the. I literally have Eritrean blood, bro. I don't know. So that's like my own people.
No. Okay, but you just said you won't marry outside Ethiopia, so I want to. That's why I asked about Eritrea. But you would marry Eritrean.
What about the same people, man? Are you literally asking me about a breakaway state that is culturally and everything the same?
I'm just trying to get to the specifics of your thought process.
Okay, Eritrea.
So you would marry
what is the question
Eritrean.
you're trying to get to?
No, I just want to know I just want to know the distances, how far it goes. How far can you go? How far does Ethiopia last, and how much different cultures? Because I know there's different cultures in Ethiopia that don't look alike. Because I know there's some other people that look different. I don't know all the cultures' names. I don't know all the names of the different tribes, but not all the tribes in Ethiopia look alike.
I think just for ease, Deep Sleep is basically staunch on this. He's only, I suppose, marrying, I suppose, what you use, a woman of a certain culture, which again, Ethiopian, Eritrean, basically of that ilk. Is that right? When it all comes down to it, that's
and my grandfather. Yeah, and my grandfather is literally Eritrean too. So
fair enough. Enough. No, that's clear cut. That's clear cut. So yeah. So I mean, I'm assuming obviously, Pedro, you have a completely
like dude is asking me like a million. Oh, would you marry this? Like, you know what, these people that they
what
always
you mean? It's a relevant question. That's a relevant question. Eritrea is not, and not everybody considers Eritrea a breakaway. Eritreans don't consider Eritreans say, "Oh, we're a different state." I know I live with a bunch of Eritreans around here. Eritreans over here, like, no, we're not. We're a different state. So what are you talking about? So what you mean? So my question was totally legitimate about Ethiopia and Eritrea. That was a totally legitimate question. Like no matter how you slice it.
Okay, it's like when a Catalonian says they're different from the other regions close to them in Spain. Yeah, they are different, but they're also the same, if that makes any sense. They're different nuance.
But if I didn't ask the question, how would I know how you feel about the thing? If I didn't ask the question, I asked the question because not everybody feels the way you feel about it. So how was the question absurd any other way? That wasn't, and even why it matters. That was not a clear cut anything, because everybody knows is a whole different people. If you ask the Eritrean, it'll be a whole different thing. So how would I know that he sees Eritreans the same as Ethiopians? How would I know that? If I didn't ask the question, please.
I hear that, but I suppose it's just because I think we're going a little bit round and round in circles about who you won't date, will you not date.
It's just repetitive at a certain point.
That's all. So I think
going around in circles because you said a different tribe in the same country is different than a whole different country. So we're not going around in circle because I was literally addressing what I was told, and they said a different tribe is different from a different race. So I want to see how far this tribe thing's going. So that's a specific thing that I specifically addressed, and I'm not the one who brought that up. Thank you very much.
I hear you, bro. I suppose, Pedro, my question to you then is: are you just trying to ascertain what levels someone will go to date someone else? Is that all we're doing? I think, or is that it? What tribes are?
Yeah, I'm ascertaining degrees because the person who talked against me about it says it's different. A different tribe is different than having a different race. So I want to see how far it goes because now it's going to nationality, different race, different things. I'm not the one who brought up these distinctions.
No, Wim. This is clearly someone who doesn't know much about Africa or. You clearly know that even though Africa is one continent, North Africans are their own kind of thing. West Africans are their own. Central Africans are kind of their own. Southern Africans tend to be more related to one another. And Horn Africans tend to be related to one another. And you can even add Kenyans in there. And East Africans in general, just to be related more to one another. Like, obviously, when I say Southern Africa is almost a different continent on its own, I mean, the people and areas, tribes in that region have literally no connection to my tribe all the way in Ethiopia, man. Like,
but you just said it. But Ethiopia and Somalia are in the same region. But you just said you're not going to marry Somalia. So what are you talking about?
Holy shit, different religions, bro.
So after that, right? So after that, what I asked you then? After that, I asked you about what about a Kenyan? Would you marry a Protestant Kenyan? If they're the same Protestant. So if that's the same region, they're both East Africa. So what? So my question totally legitimate. I did not beat around no bush. I did not run around no circles. Everything was in response to the things I was being told specifically.
Bro, Kenya is not Horn African, man. Kenya is East African. I don't know what. Once again, Kenya is East African.
Okay, so I don't know how you look at regions. So Horn Africa is different than East Africa. I don't know how you look at the regions. That's how you look at regions. Okay.
Horn Africa is literally Ethiopia, Somalia, Djibouti, Eritrea. And maybe you can consider North Sudan is like half between North Africa and Horn Africa, depending on what tribe is there. That's it.
Right. Okay. I think I'm hoping we've got to kind of an understanding because I think that was the only thing for me. It was just the understanding. That was all. So hopefully that all makes sense. But I suppose deep sleep, you don't. When it comes to, you know, I'm gonna say this, slinging dick, you don't have a discrimination. But when it comes to marrying, it's different. Is that right?
Of course. Yeah. the game. I know it sounds like Fiona probably got mad at that, but it is what it is, man. Like the way I see it, bro. I'd rather learn the trick of the trade with other women and make all my mistakes with other women before I get to, you know, the prize that is my own women.
Yo, I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave the other questions and everything back alone because we've gone for like 3 hours now. So, it's been a good one. It's been a long one, but it's been a good one.
And literally 2 hours of it was Pelu making hypothetical questions. What about this? What about that?
My things were perfectly legitimate questions.
No, they were. I was just thinking, Pelu. I was just trying to understand the net sum of it. Is it just a case of you want to know whether he has tribes he doesn't like? I don't know. That's the only thing I was thinking. Because he's deep sleep seemed quite clear that he just wanted this particular culture. That's all. So it's okay.
No. It wasn't clear whatsoever why it matters. I'm gonna tell you because he's pretty said that it's a difference between having a different tribe and different race. So I want to know how far tribe and race goes, and then he made it a whole different thing. Because he said it's a difference between having a different tribe. That's specifically what he said.
Okay, I hear you, bro. I hear you. But yeah, so let's have the last little wrap ups then. I suppose. What I'll do, I'll just ask, is there anything which you just want to sort of surmise or wrap up in regards to arranged marriages at all? So I'll go around the houses. KB, wherever you want to take it, you can do for your closing thoughts, bro.
Yeah, cool, bro. Thank you. Yeah, no, I just close off and say for our community, I think it could be a good idea. In the very least, if not all the way with arranged marriages, I think we should have a lot more involvement and assist with the vetting process in terms of our children and our offspring, at least start to normalize it. Obviously it's not a thing we generally do, so there might be some resistance at first, and but I think it should be more of a normal thing, and then we can vet out people, and then yeah, I think there should be more personally intercultural marriages, relationships, etc. And yeah, go from there. I think it would be a good thing for us. But yeah, definitely a lot more vetting, and you know, just not let's. I know our kids are going to go up and make their own mistakes and become their own people in the world, but I think we could do well to kind of guide them a bit more, or for longer periods in their lives. They don't have to, I mean, to me, they don't have to deal with everything in life by themselves and find it all out, you know. So I think it will do well to start to normalize that, and then hopefully become more of a thing in our community.
No, thanks, KB. I hear you, bro. I do.
Okay.
Cool. Thomas, question to you. I know you've been in the wars in the chat, bro. So I don't know whether you've come back. A lot of people are coming into yeah. You there, Thomas? You there?
Don't worry, bro. I've handled it.
I know you can handle yourself, bro. I just want to make sure, you know what I mean?
Bro, it's because of my views. It's jokes,
well,
bro.
The thing is, some of the people I thought would share your same views, to be honest with you. So I'm a bit surprised, to be honest. But yeah.
No, I just find it amusing here because I've traveled, and I can just see these people. Yeah, they haven't traveled. They're being too comfortable in the UK, bro. But it's all jokes.
As long as it's cool, bro. But let me know in it if anything, and then yeah. But yeah. It's as long as you're all right, bro. Do you have any final thoughts on this topic actually before we wrap up?
No, what? This has been a nice live stream. I was actually meaning to ask you when you're gonna do a live stream on the Queen Elizabeth situation, because I watched your last video regarding One Talk Sports presenter.
Yeah.
Presenting his views. I was kind of hoping you would do a live stream on that, but other than that, bro, it's all good, bro.
Okay, I may do this, further developments and stuff.
Because bro, you won't believe the amount of shit black people have been saying on social media after the Queen's passing. I'm like, wow. Can you just keep it to yourselves? They're like black people lack emotional intelligence, like you said on the video.
Yeah, and listen, I always say this, and I'll make it abundantly clear. You can believe, or you can mourn, or you can not like the person. That's fine. It's just, yeah, you're right. There's a little bit of tact and guile that just seems to evade. So it's like there's certain timing is everything in life, like comedy, isn't it? And it's just, yeah, it shows us in negative lights that we don't need, because at the end of the day, I'm going to say this: What would happen if the UK say, all right, then, since a lot of you of African heritage think this way, we're going to stop aid to your African nations? It's like, some people won't forget these types of things as much as we want to say it. And we always play the victim when we're ready into it. So, yeah, there's certain ways of moving. I'm not saying you have to love the Queen or not have these viewpoints, but just there's a way to move in life. And it's just like, yeah, that's a whole nother thing, isn't it?
Wow, no worries, bro. But this conversation was all good, despite the discourse. But can't wait for the next stream, bro.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it, bro. Let me go deep next. Any last final thoughts? Going once, going twice. No.
Wait, are you going to
just final wrap up thoughts? Your views on arranged marriages before we wrap up, just so everyone knows.
Oh yeah.
Look, what you think, what you believe.
Yeah, I've made all my points clear, and I just want to say thank you for having me on stream. And yeah, like the only thing I came to touch upon before Puelu gave me like these million questions is when it comes to differences between your son and your daughter in terms of arranged marriages. I think there's more emphasis on your daughter and who she marries. The finances become more emphasized in that case. Because if you're going to hand your daughter over to another man, like that man better have his financial shit in order, and he better have like a good financial future or whatever. Like he better show you that he's able to provide a comfortable or even more than comfortable life for her. Whereas if your son is marrying another woman, I think it's more responsibility on your son. So that's all I want to say. That's probably the only difference between the two. Outside of the normal differences that you have, outside of the normal standards that you would have for both of them.
You've raised a question which I've not asked, and I don't know why I've not brought this up, but for a guy to be financially stable to support a family, nowadays he's gonna have to be over age of like, I don't know, 30. So I was gonna ask age differences in arranged marriages. Is that something that you're
that's yet to happen. Like even in my parents are like 10 years apart.
Right.
When I do the maths, they're literally just 10 years apart. Like, so yeah, like women marry mostly someone who's older than them. That's just is what it is. Between 5 to 10 years is usually like the normal gap between, I would say. Unless the guy's just super rich.
Well, this is it, because you're not gonna. I mean, unless you're born in a wealthy family, it's unlikely that the guy's gonna be settled in a way which you might like until he's of a certain age. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. But no, thanks Deep T for coming up, and welcome to come back anytime.
Yeah, peace. Thanks for having me on.
No worries, Palu, bro. Final thoughts, down to you.
I think a marriage can be good if you have some level of choice. I think a good solution is proper matchmaking. That's a good solution, is proper matchmaking. That's what I want to say about arranged marriages.
No, I hear you, bro. I hear you. And again, you're always welcome to come back up here. I don't know why the chat seems to just be ganging up on two people today. I don't know what's going on today. Chat, what's up? What's going on, man? What's going on? But yeah, thank you, Palu. Thanks, KB. Thanks for Zulia. I know your thoughts and Deep. Thanks for everyone for coming on to the stream. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hopefully we're gonna do another live stream next week. I'll be honest with you, my my channel pre-records seem to just hit. Live streams is a bit of a slow burner, but that's because I need to get get the channel up. But you'll see a lot more of pre-records, that's for sure. And then also we'll do some live streams. So we'll try and mix it up as much as we can do, schedule permitting. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe if you are new. And until the next time, stay blessed, stay healthy.